A warning rings out. Absolutely do not look them straight in the eye. Amidst the ruins, a man breaks out in a cold sweat, staring intensely at a mysterious, furry mass in front of him. Don't hesitate, attack now. He furrows his brow, channeling all his strength to swing a curved iron pipe down on the target without a shred of mercy. Our enemy turns out to be a tiny fluffball. Golden fur, rosy cheeks, eyes squeezed shut. It looks completely gentle and harmless. And incredibly adorable. Suddenly, the creature opens its large, pitch-black eyes, blinking and radiating a killer cute aura that would melt anyone's heart. And the price for that moment of weakness? The burly man instantly collapses, lying motionless in a pool of blood. A few cute little fluffballs stroll leisurely around the corpse, their golden fur now stained with a touch of bright red syrup. Looking further out, an entire ruined neighborhood with crushed cars has been completely overrun. Thousands of these tiny yellow fluffballs are swarming the streets, bustling like a festival. At 22 years and 6 months old, I became the youngest engineering doctorate in the country. A young man wearing glasses and a white lab coat, meticulously assembling machinery, slowly recalls his golden era. The future of Korean science. He crosses his arms, smiling proudly with the dazzling aura of a great man. That was the kind of flashy title people used to attach to my name. But reality is cruel. The once brilliant genius is now sitting huddled on the wooden floor, his slumped back turned as he stares out the window in sheer boredom. The young man with messy hair, glasses slipping down to reveal thick, dark circles under his eyes, stares blankly ahead, completely speechless and sinking into endless silence. The view from above is breathtakingly horrific. The streets are a chaotic mess of crashed cars, corpses lie scattered everywhere, and those deadly yellow fluffballs are crawling around as leisurely as a walk in the park. Now, in a world like this, all those titles are utterly useless. Rewinding to a brighter day, the new graduate, beaming with a radiant smile, strikes a handsome pose in his graduation gown in front of the university gates. His dad, holding a phone to frame the shot, loudly directs, "Son, move to the side a bit." His mom, holding a small white dog, chimes in, "That's right, you're blocking the logo." The little dog barks happily, "Woof." The young man awkwardly shuffles over, asking, "Like this?" He quickly waves his hands, suggesting, "Don't just shoot like that. Let's take a family photo." His mom's voice calls out from afar, "Hold on, you need at least one solo shot." The camera angle shifts up to the red brick university building as his dad's excited voice rings out, "All right, group photo time. 1, 2, 3. A bright family photo is captured. His mom smiles radiantly, calling their pet, "Hey, Young-dung." During the shoot, Young-dung excitedly licks all over the boy's face, annoyed and panicking. He scolds, "Young-dung, your big brother is wearing foundation today." Si-hong grimaces, trying to push the dog away. "Stop licking me." The dog persistently clings to his face with its front paws, refusing to let go. Si-hong helplessly mutters, "Damn it." Seeing her son grimace, his mom frowns and reprimands him. "Si-hong, why are you treating Young-dung like that?" Si-hong, holding Young-dung with a completely defeated look, hastily defends himself. "Ah, Mom, don't misunderstand." For Snow White paws land softly and gracefully on the ground. It turns out to be a calico cat with large round eyes and a proudly erect tail, having just executed a masterful landing on the street. Si-hong proudly spreads his arms and introduces, "This is a robot I developed. It's called Irun-si." While the dog Young-dung growls warily, his mom pats her chest in relief. "Oh my, you scared me to death." His dad stands nearby, eyes wide in amazement. "That's a robot?" The robot cat blinks and twitches its ears as Si-hong smugly explains further. "Yep, I modeled it after feline movements. No matter how it falls, it always lands perfectly on all fours. If I develop it a bit more, it could be applied to every industry." Suddenly, his mom's voice rings out with delight. "Oh my Si-hong, you made this too?" She squats down, smiling affectionately at a very familiar, bright yellow fluffball. Delighted, she praises it. "Look at this little darling. Feels just like a living creature. Exactly like our Young-dung when he was a tiny puppy." Ignoring her praise, Young-dung senses danger and barks wildly, "Grr! Woof! Woof woof!" Completely off guard by the adorable creature, Si-hong's mom happily turns back to call her husband, "Honey." Si-hong's dad, "Come over here for a sec." At this moment, cold sweat begins to bead on the young doctor's forehead. Si-hong mutters in utter panic, "Huh? What is that? Nobody built anything like that." A horrifying scene unfolds in a flash. The yellow fluffball, keeping its innocent face and chirping "umpy-uppy-you," simultaneously shoots out a sharp, spiked weapon that pierces straight through his mom's head. Blood splatters everywhere. Si-hong freezes, his face deathly pale, gasping out a single word, "Huh?" Both he and his father are completely petrified by the bloody tragedy that struck so suddenly. As his father runs up from behind and the little dog lunges into the air, Si-hong screams in panic, "Hey, Mom!" Two ruthless, razor-sharp spikes impale both the father and the dog. A horrific scream echoes, "Dad! Eong-dung!" A bloody massacre unfolds all around as innocent civilians fall to the sharp spikes. Si-hong stammers in shock, "What the hell? What is happening?" His father, collapsing in a pool of blood, gasps his dying words, "Si-hong, at least you have to run." Si-hong drops to his knees, sobbing, "Dad, come with me, together." The mindless fluffball drives two spikes straight into his father's head, emitting a bizarre sound, "Ump-boo-bew." Tears and sweat stream down the young doctor's desperate face. He agonizes internally, "Leaving my family behind." Exhausting every ounce of strength to flee the slaughter, he tells himself, "I just ran blindly without ever looking back. I just kept running endlessly." The light from a screen illuminates Si-hong's hollow face as a news broadcast announces, "Invasions are currently being reported worldwide. The military is doing everything possible to suppress them. Citizens, return home immediately, lock your doors, and stay inside." Si-hong sheds a tear of shock under the cold reflection of his glasses. Just waiting at home like this. The young man sits blankly, hugging his knees on the wooden floor. A full 3 years have passed. The world collapsed helplessly. Si-hong grimaces, biting into dry, tasteless food. And humans have built their own personal fortresses just to survive. The only food left are these potatoes from the supply drops. He stands listlessly by the window, looking down at the street. The only things to do are stare out the window all day. Holding an open book, he mutters, or reread the books and papers I've already memorized by heart. A notification blares from the speaker. "This is the floor representative. Supplies will arrive shortly, so please gather on the rooftop." Si-hong wearily rests his head on his hand, looking down. "Ah, so it's already been a week. Supply day. The day food arrives, but it's not exactly something to look forward to, because it means having to face the scumbags living in this building." As he walked down the quiet apartment corridor, a voice called out from afar, You there, the guy from room 603. The brown-haired neighbor covered his mouth and whispered, "I was just wondering." Si-hong turned his head and replied, "Yes." The brown-haired guy looked at Si-hong mockingly. "Have you done it yet?" Si-hong asked blankly. "Excuse me." The guy raised an eyebrow. "You know, that, between a man and a woman." "Huh." The orange-haired girlfriend clung to the grumpy man's arm. "Why would you ask such a rude question?" The girl continued. "How could you ask that to someone who obviously has never done it before?" The brown-haired guy shrugged. "I just feel it's a waste of youth. That's all." Si-hong thought to himself. Waste of youth. After everything started, we exchanged names once. Si-hong looked at the couple in front of him and secretly labeled them in his head. But for simplicity, I call them this. The idiot. The idiot's new girlfriend. They are in room 301. The guy in the red tracksuit walked over to them and asked, What is he saying?" Si-hong replied in annoyance, "I don't know. Damn it." He kept his head down and continued, "It must be great having so much free time." At a crossroads between life and death, his friend grimaced and retorted, What now, are you quoting Hamlet?" "You know Hamlet, man?" The guy in red calmly replied, "Of course. I read the whole summary in high school on that website." The other guy nodded in disappointment. "Ah, right. Bet that was fun." A young man in a brown jacket suddenly appeared out of nowhere and shouted curiously, "Why? What? Tell me too." That was Sang-yoon from room 404. Si-hong, So listen. The woman leading a child blocked the way on the stairs and started begging. Later, when we get our potato rations, could you give our Taeyong a few extra? He's at an age where he really needs to grow. Si-hong mentally assessed the situation. I might be misunderstanding, but are you asking me to give you potatoes? That's right. You live alone, don't you? We have 3 mouths to feed. That's a bit difficult. The husband standing behind yelled angrily. Let it go. Damn it. He already said no. The wife immediately turned around and scolded her husband. You! Stay out of this. He clearly intended to give us some. Why are you stopping him? Si-hong coldly dropped a harsh truth. Did I ever say I was going to give you any? Taeyong's dad. Taeyong's mom. The floor representative. Taeyong. Room 511. The woman led her child away in frustration, leaving Si-hong standing there, gritting his teeth, trying to suppress his rising anger. A hand tightly grabbed his shoulder, startling the young man who quickly turned his head to check. Catching sight of an old man with a stern face standing right behind him, Si-hong exclaimed in surprise, Sir! The old man from room 411 leaned close to Si-hong and advised, Don't bother responding to every piece of garbage that comes out of those maggots' mouths. Si-hong smiled awkwardly and replied, Yes, it's fine. That's right. What can a child possibly learn from watching things like that? The dad from room 511 spun around, pointed his finger, and yelled, Hey, old man, what did you just mutter? The old man startled, panicked, and flatly denied it. Nothing at all. The aggressive young dad stepped up the stairs threateningly. Just let those bastards try something. Si-hong hurriedly stepped forward to block him. Threatened, the old man cowered, clutching his waist and whining, Oh, my back. Si-hong glared at the terrible neighbor, completely speechless. Si-hong kindly raised his hands to support the old man and asked, Are you okay, sir? The old man waved his hand to reassure him. Sure, I'm fine. The old man sadly lowered his head and muttered further. The fault lies with the parents who raised him to turn out like that. After a while, everyone had gathered on the rooftop. The crowd gradually dispersed, leaving Si-hong standing alone. He ran his hand through his messy hair and grimaced, My head! Looking down from above, he pondered. Maybe. Down on the street, the yellow furry monsters strolled carefree among the bloody corpses. A bitter inner voice echoed, Even more than out there. It might be more of a hell in here than outside. Did they become this terrible? Taking in the scowling faces of the 5th-floor couple and the mocking attitude of the young lovers, he wondered, because of what happened to the world? Standing amidst the suffocating atmosphere of the apartment building, Si-hong agonized. Or did they survive in this world? The gloomy sky gathered thick dark clouds overhead, and his mind echoed again. Or is it? 2 freakish fluffballs rubbed their cheeks together playfully, radiating a sparkling pink aura. Si-hong depressingly concluded, Probably both. Si-hong turned away in frustration and muttered a curse. Damn it! What a shitty world. The young man stood hidden behind a cold concrete wall, letting out a sigh. Well, what's the use of blaming humans? A golden furry monster covered in fresh blood stood casually next to a cold corpse on the street. The world came to this miserable end because of those things. A giant, red, pulsating mass of flesh continuously writhed, peeling back to reveal a tiny creature. The narration echoed. They are pregnant for a week and lay over 20 eggs at a time. No matter how many you kill, they just keep appearing from somewhere. Humanity still hasn't figured out a way. Si-hong closed his eyes wearily and thought, to actually defeat them, what the hell are those Yomi doing anyway? The blinding red light from the siren on the roof suddenly flashed continuously. The neighbor from room 404 happily swung his arms and ran up the stairs. Oh, the supplies are here. Supplies? A massive fire truck crashed down from above, crushing obstacles and sending bricks and debris flying everywhere. The Yomi monsters blinked their large, round, pitch-black eyes, turning their heads blankly toward the loud noise that had just echoed. The fire truck, equipped with a razor-sharp steel plow, speeds along the road as the naive yellow monsters chirp, Umpy you. Brutal impacts cause the monsters to explode, splattering pink fluids all over the truck's windshield. A soldier in blue uniform and full protective gear steps out from the driver's cabin. The Army's cockroach squad. The neighbor from 404 gapes in awe, while Si-hong remains cold and contemplative. Every time I see them, I can't stop thinking. The massive fire ladder begins to extend, reaching up toward the floors of the apartment building. The iron ladder stretches straight to the top floor, ready for supply operations amidst the ruins below. A soldier stands firmly on the ladder basket with a rifle in hand, next to the supply crates. The neighbor exclaims admiringly, "They look incredibly cool." Coming down now. Down on the ground, swarms of yellow yomi monsters simultaneously look up with mysterious, pitch-black eyes. Bursts of gunfire pierce the monsters, causing their bodies to explode into vibrant pink liquid. The soldier on the basket fires continuously, clearing out the monsters below. Behind his protective visor, the soldier focuses on precisely targeting each mark. Si-hong widens his eyes in surprise at the marksmanship display. Wow, how can their reflexes be that good? The crowd of neighbors complains noisily. Do they have to be this loud every time they show up? Can't they use drones? Yeah, how outdated. Si-hong thinks to himself. If that worked, they would have done it a long time ago, you idiots. Are you fools discussing who is more educated? The entire apartment block gathers before the soldier and the supply crates. The child holds his stomach, complaining, "I'm hungry." The mother rushes to soothe him. "Oh dear, my darling, we'll go down and eat right away." Si-hong glances at the mother and child, completely perplexed. The soldier announces loudly, "Everyone, before distributing rations, there's something to report. Last weekend, the potato farm was attacked by Yomi." The crowd, including the old man, the young couple, and the man in the brown jacket, turn pale with extreme anxiety. What? Huh? So this time, unfortunately, food will be replaced with cucumbers. We hope for your understanding. Sang-yoon closes his eyes in dismay, while Si-hong stands there, stunned and disappointed. Cucumbers? Cucumbers, huh? Taeyong's dad screams angrily. The wife chimes in, while the son sobs uncontrollably. Are you kidding me? What about those who can't eat cucumbers? Cucumbers? Seriously? Cucumbers? I'm hungry. Taeyong's dad aggressively steps forward and points at the soldier. Hey, you hid the potatoes, didn't you? Be honest, you bastards. Show them what happens when they dare to mess with us. A close-up of the visor-clad face. The soldier closes his eyes helplessly. Ha! Oh, did you just sigh? Just now? What year did you enlist, huh? You brat. The soldier calmly stares at the man in a frenzy. For those who can't eat cucumbers, we have prepared something else. Look, does everyone see that? These guys only cough up supplies after you make a scene. Suddenly, a bullet flies over, knocking the hat off Taeyong's dad. The soldier pulls out a handgun and points it directly at him, to the crowd's utter shock. He says, "See that, Taeyong's mom? What did I tell you? Even if the parking lot report is full." Si-hong and Sang-yoon break into a cold sweat, standing completely speechless. With the black muzzle pressed against his face, Taeyong's dad remains stubbornly defiant. "You still have to poke your nose in and check, don't you?" The wife cries out in panic. Taeyong's dad, the reckless man continues. "Go ahead and report it, if phones or the internet still worked." The old man covers his mouth to stifle a laugh. Ahem. Humph. Haha. Is there anyone else who can't eat cucumbers? Raise your hand. No one? Good. The soldier turns and climbs down the iron ladder, coldly dropping one last sentence. "Then we'll see all of you again next week." Retract the ladder. Yes, sir. Platoon leader. Sang-yoon frowns, wondering, what's wrong with him today? That guy. Maybe he finally went crazy. Si-hong frowns and turns his head when he hears the old man coughing violently behind him. Si-hong approaches anxiously. "Are you okay, sir?" The old man clutches his chest and smiles. "Yeah, haha. The ration distribution is over. 10 cucumbers for each person, and 6 500 milliliters bottles of water." Taeyong cries into his hands while his mother yells loudly, "I hate cucumbers. I said I hate cucumbers. Taeyong, you have to eat if you want to live." The young couple is also in a deadlock. The girl squats down, holding her face in despair. "How can we survive a week with this?" "Here, eat some of mine, honey. This is all just trash anyway." Si-hong quietly steps forward. He carries a black plastic bag and approaches the mother and Tae-young, leaving them bewildered. Si-hong squats to the child's eye level and kindly offers the bag. Tae-young, Uncle has a gift for you. All of this. Yeah, Uncle doesn't really get that thirsty. The mother crosses her arms, glaring at Si-hong with bitterness. It's not even food, just water. Yet he acts like it's a huge gift. Si-hong frowns, cutting her off. Excuse me? If you don't need it, I can take it back. The mother grabs the bag and turns away, ignoring the child who is obediently bowing to thank Si-hong. 1 minute it's like this, the next it's like that. How can a person be so fickle? Taeyang's dead. Let's go. He just gave all his water away, right? That's exactly what I'm saying. Won't he really get thirsty? Si-hong sits at the table, grimacing as he bites into a cucumber, muttering, how can I get full eating this? It's not enough at all. Time to fill my stomach with water. Si-hong tilts his head back, downing the cool, refreshing water from a large plastic bottle, telling himself, so soothing. There's one thing I haven't told the other survivors in this building. My place has plenty of water. Si-hong pours a full basin of water over his body, exclaiming with relief, enough that I could shower every day if I wanted to. Sunlight streams onto the DIY system on his balcony. Si-hong thinks proudly, how is that possible? Power from my solar panels. 3 machines placed by the window run continuously. He explains further. They power the entire dehumidifier system and the water they extract from the air. Crystal clear water drips into the container below. The young man says smugly, is then filtered through a machine I built myself. Si-hong stands holding a water bottle, looking at the stack of blue crates. I keep receiving water supplies anyway. Watching the child rubbing his eyes, Si-hong thinks, but today, I gave some away without thinking, because that kid just kept lingering in my mind. Si-hong closes his eyes in frustration, thinking, when will this end? For days have passed. 2 yellow furry monsters rub cheeks, radiating a brilliant pink aura next to a cold corpse on the street. Outside is still hell. And inside is still hell too. Si-hong mutters wearily, cucumbers are really, I shouldn't even mention them. Talking wastes energy too. Looking at the crates full of neatly stacked water bottles in the room, he thinks, this is the first time I've actually looked forward to supply day. Water is everywhere. Si-hong leans back on the sofa with a book covering his face, sighing, if I had known it would turn out like this, I would have grown sweet potatoes at home. The young man keeps his arms crossed, letting go. Maybe I should just lie down and sleep. At least that makes time pass faster. Si-hong lies on his back on the bed, using a book to cover his face. He peeks out from under the book, telling himself, if I die in my sleep, then I die, right? In a world like this, Si-hong's eyes suddenly widen, fixed on a point in front of him. He falls backward onto the floor, startled to find a bloody Yomi monster standing right in his house. He screams in panic, what the hell is this? The monster tilts its head at him innocently. Si-hong is extremely tense and confused. How the hell did that thing get in here? He retreats and runs away in utter panic, swearing constantly, damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it. How the hell did it get in? The first and second floors were completely sealed with steel plates. I always keep the window cracked for humidity, and there hasn't been a single issue for a whole year. The front door only opens with a remote control. Images of the monsters jumping on the street flash in his mind. These things can jump, maybe a meter high at most, and my room is on the 6th floor. How the hell did it get in here? Damn it, I don't know, I'll think about that later. Right now, I have to deal with this thing in front of me. Si-hong crouches and approaches the monster cautiously, saying, okay, be good. All right? Just a little more. Back up a little more. He backs toward the remote on the cabinet, calculating. The trap I built in case I encountered one of these Yomi bastards. If only I could get to that remote. His bare feet slowly and carefully step back on the wooden floor. The blood-stained monster suddenly turns around. The creature leaps into the air and charges forward, causing Si-hong to scream in alarm. The young man swings his arm, landing a powerful punch directly on the monster's face. The fluff ball is sent flying, knocking over the box on the table and crashing into the rice cooker. The yellow furry monster stands trembling on the floor with tears in its eyes. Si-hong points at the tiny creature and asks, "Are you okay? What am I doing to this tiny creature?" "No, wait. These things killed a third of humanity. My mom and dad are among them. And Yeong-dong too." The monster continues to shed pitiful tears, making Si-hong soften. Who knows? Maybe some of the relatives I can no longer contact were also victims. But that doesn't mean it's this little thing's fault. I should let it out. I'll let it go. Si-hong reaches out his hand gently and calls, "Hey, little one, come here." The yellow creature stands still, staring at the hand in front of it with round eyes. Suddenly, the monster leaps into the air, launching sharp spikes from its body straight at Si-hong, making him jump. The spikes pierce through his body, spraying blood all over the room, as Si-hong screams in extreme agony. Well, that certainly woke me up. So that's why they say never to look them in the eyes. Sharp spikes lash out, sending Si-hong crashing to the floor, screaming in agony. Si-hong lunges forward, reaching out desperately. The remote! The remote! The Yomi monster charges at him at the exact same moment. The ventilation fan on the wall spins at a frantic speed. The monster is flung straight into the iron blades, creating a shower of blinding sparks before Si-hong's stunned eyes. It didn't work? Si-hong grabs a fork and thrusts it toward the creature, shouting, "Don't come near me! Stay away! Where's the knife?" He frantically stabs at the furry fluffball repeatedly, frustrated. This isn't working either. Si-hong's blood-soaked face freezes as he spots a blowtorch lying in the corner of the room. The red-eyed monster lunges toward Si-hong, who lies collapsed on the floor covered in bloody wounds. Si-hong grips the blowtorch, pulling the trigger to unleash a stream of searing fire directly at the monster. The yellow fluffball is completely swallowed by the flames, writhing in the sea of fire. Si-hong grinds his teeth and gasps for air, his face drenched in sweat, filled with shock and lingering fear. He sits blankly on the floor, staring at the charred, smoking corpse of the terrifying creature. Cut to the transport repair base, where fire trucks and military vehicles are parked closely together. Inside the break room, a soldier in full armor carefully wipes blood off a rifle. "You've all worked hard out there." "Yeah. Good job, Sergeant Kim." "Platoon leader." "Yeah. Speak. How can I kill Yomi?" "As easily as you do, sir. They remind me of the hedgehog I used to keep, so sometimes I hesitate." "How do I kill them without feeling anything?" "The answer is simple. You just need plenty of experience." "Experience, sir?" "The experience of watching a Yomi attack tear through a comrade's esophagus. The experience of seeing a 7-year-old child with their guts spilled out, crying for help, while you're completely powerless." "Go on now. I need a shower. I'm covered in too much blood today." "Yes, sir. Please get some good rest." Victory. A suit of armor and a helmet, stained with fresh blood, are placed carefully on the bed. Lieutenant Go-hee of the cockroach squad winces in pain as she struggles to put on her coat. Back to the main protagonist. Completely covered in blood, Si-hong pants heavily, carrying an orange plastic bag. Si-hong stands silently before the kitchen sink, which contains the bag holding the monster's charred remains. A wave of nausea washes over him, and Si-hong bows his head, vomiting into the sink. The young man picks up the bag, calculating, "First, I need to get this thing out of here." He turns his face away to avoid the stench, holding the garbage bag high. Si-hong looks back, his face scratched and his shirt soaked in blood, completely speechless. A blood-stained hand reaches out to grab the orange garbage bag containing the monster's corpse. Si-hong sits on the floor, leaning his head on his hand exhaustedly. 2 days have passed. Even after racking my brain for 2 whole days, I still can't understand how that thing got into my room. An announcement blares from the speaker. "Hello, hello. This is the floor representative. Supplies will arrive shortly, so please gather at..." Si-hong touches the bandage on his neck lightly, listening to the broadcast in silence. The residents of the apartment complex begin to gather in the spacious courtyard below. Standing next to his neighbors, Si-hong frowns, wondering, "Am I the only one who went through this? Why is everyone so calm?" A child's voice calls out to him, "Mister." Young Tae-young bows obediently. "Thank you so much for the water, mister." Si-hong replies in surprise, "Huh? It's nothing." So Such a well-behaved child can be born from those terrible parents. Taeyong's mom aggressively stomps over, grabs her son's hand, and pulls him away, yelling, "Taeyong, what the hell are you doing there? Come here, right now." Sangyun scratches his head with a grin, shouting to get everyone's attention. "Everyone, I have an announcement." Sehong, standing next to him, frowns in confusion. "Does anyone want to play rock, paper, scissors to combine our food rations? Why is he acting so weird all of a sudden?" The young man in blue charges forward, intent on hitting him, but his girlfriend pulls his arm to stop him. "Should I hit him? Just punch the bastard in the face." "Wait, you'll kill him if you hit him. When we first started dating, you hit that driving instructor so hard he passed out." The orange-haired girl covers her blushing cheeks shyly. "I mean, that's exactly what made me fall for you." The old man bows over, clutching his chest, coughing violently and with great difficulty. A man's voice sneers. "What's the point of doubling up on weeds?" Taeyong's dad, hands in his pockets, glances coldly at the old man and says maliciously, "How much longer is that old man going to live anyway? Damn it." He takes his full ration and eats every last bit of it. Taeyong's mom, standing next to him with arms crossed, chimes in, "That's the consequence of being so greedy." Sehong looks up with a look of extreme bewilderment as he discovers something anomalous. "Ha!" A monster leaps from midair, targeting the young couple who are laughing and chatting carelessly below. The golden fluff ball hits the ground and gnaws ravenously on the ear it just bit off. Blood splatters everywhere. Sehong gasps, staring in shock at the scene unfolding before him. The young man clutches his bleeding ear, screaming in agony, while his girlfriend panics. "My ear! My ear! Help!" The crowd of neighbors tramples over each other, fleeing the rooftop in a chaotic, weeping scramble. "Save us!" Sehong shouts aloud. Where the hell did those things come from? Sehong spins around and rushes to the edge of the railing, peering down in horror. The yellow monsters are clinging tightly to the building, climbing swiftly upward. These bastards can climb walls. He wonders, is that how it got into my room? A monster suddenly leaps toward him, making Sehong fall backward as he screams, "They couldn't do this before?" He yells, "Get away!" Sehong is stunned to see a Yomi monster blasted to pieces, with fresh blood splattering around. A fully armed soldier aims his rifle forward and shouts orders. "Everyone, get inside! Get inside now! Lock the doors and wait!" Despite the fleeing crowd and continuous gunfire, Taeyong's dad lingers, yelling, "What? What about the food?" The girlfriend drags the injured man along, urging him, "Is that important right now?" The soldier keeps firing and commands, "We'll call everyone back later, so get inside right now." The young man in blue clutches his bloodied ear, screaming in pain, while his panicked girlfriend leads him away, soothing him. "Try to endure it just a little longer." The old man breaks out in a cold sweat, his face twisted with clear, intense terror as he struggles to run for his life. Sehong and Sangyun rush away, taking heavy, rapid steps to flee the chaotic rooftop. The soldier maintains his aiming stance, eyes laser-focused to provide cover for the residents' safe retreat. Safely back home, Sehong leans against the locked iron door, his body exhausted as he gasps for air. Thinking of the terrifying scene with the monsters clinging and climbing up the building's exterior, Sehong's mind is flooded with questions. What the hell just happened? How could they climb those walls? The young man startles, his eyes widening as a thought flashes through his mind. "Right, I have that thing." Sehong stands at the threshold, carrying the orange plastic bag containing the monster's carcass. He carefully picks up the remains, bringing the creature's feet close to his face to examine them. Sehong's eyes widen in shock, his face clearly showing astonishment as he discovers an anomaly. Cut to, for soldiers standing guard around the shattered monster corpses on the ground, reporting the situation. Sector right is clear. Sector left is clear. Two soldiers exchange words in the tense atmosphere, their faces hidden behind gas masks. "What's the situation, platoon leader?" "These things are climbing walls." The female lieutenant's eyes widen in confusion. Sweat beads on her forehead as a terrible thought crosses her mind. "Wait, don't tell me." Back in his room, Sehong frowns, breaking into a cold sweat as he contemplates the new danger. He flips the tiny, bloodied feet over to examine them thoroughly. There are spikes on their feet, Did they always have these? Or did they just develop them? The yellow carcass lies motionless on the cold floor as a worried inner voice echoes. If they just developed those, this is truly a disaster. Because it means that in such a short time, they are evolving. Si-hong stands tall, his gaze resolute as he prepares to face reality. I can't just stay in this apartment waiting for this to end. I have to do something. Anything. Just then, a bizarre cry echoes right beside him. Si-hong widens his eyes in shock. What? It's not dead yet. The orange plastic bag tears open, and a slimy, pale pink egg sack containing dozens of eggs drops onto the floor. The gelatinous egg sack slides and stops right at the tip of Si-hong's toes. Si-hong startles and steps back. Confused, there were eggs inside? The young man stands still, staring intently at the bizarre egg sack on the wooden floor. Curiously, Si-hong touches the tiny creature that just cracked out of its shell, thinking, it looks so small and harmless. Wait, these creatures have caused so much suffering to humanity. But his finger presses gently into the creature's soft fur, and the thought continues. What would happen if they changed depending on how they're raised? The chain of thought continues. Should I try raising one? At that exact moment, the tiny monster opens its fang-filled mouth and bites down hard on his finger. Si-hong's face twists. His eyes widen in terror as an excruciating wave of pain hits him. Si-hong clutches his blood-soaked hand, screaming in agony as the sound echoes throughout the room. My finger! Si-hong frantically strikes the tiny creature, sending pink fluid splattering across the floor, screaming in rage. You little monster! The young man stares down at his blood-stained hand and the mangled carcass, regretting, sorry, little one, my hand just moved on its own. Why did I do that? Si-hong stares at the crushed remains in silence. The young man collapses onto the wooden floor, his body shaking with desperate, sobbing cries. A sharp arrow strikes the yellow creature's head, but immediately ricochets and flies away. Si-hong holds the crossbow he just fired, frowning as he assesses the situation. The skin is just too soft and flexible. Physical attacks are completely deflected. The young man's expression suddenly shifts. His eyes widen with determination. After pulling himself together, I remember what I need to do. The image of the soldier firing his gun and tearing the monster apart flashes in his mind. With these two corpses, gunfire definitely works. Memories of using the blowtorch to incinerate the fluffball return, and he asserts forcefully. And fire definitely works too. Amidst the quiet room, Si-hong clenches his fist, determined to achieve his new survival goal. I have to find it. A way for an ordinary person without a gun to kill these things if they happen to encounter them. The table is scattered with all kinds of tools. Knives, hammers, saws, pliers and wrenches, all covered in pink slime. A way for me to survive. How many hours have passed now? After cutting, slicing, and smashing the two carcasses, this is what I've learned. To kill these things, you need a force of about 800 newtons or temperatures above 500 degrees Celsius. In this situation, the easiest way to attack them is finally. Fire from the blowtorch flares up intensely, incinerating the monster's corpse. Fire. And one more thing. Si-hong wrinkles his nose, sniffing the faint scent wafting through the air. Ha! He stands blankly, watching the smoke rising from the now roasted monster carcass. Si-hong's face distorts with craving, saliva dripping from the corners of his mouth. What is this? Why do I smell beef? Si-hong bows his head, sniffing the scent rising from the charred monster corpse. His eyes roll back, glazed over. His face is filled with extreme hunger as he greedily inhales the strange aroma. Despite the searing heat, Si-hong reaches out, clutching the monster meat and bringing it close to his face. The young man opens his mouth wide, revealing his teeth, preparing to bite deep into the fatty meat. Si-hong freezes midway, his eyes widening in shock with a flash of thought. I actually almost bit into that. I don't even know what it's made of. He staggers backward on bare feet, blaming himself. Have I finally gone crazy from starving for too long? His eyes behind his glasses are deep in analysis. Maybe smelling something that smells like meat after such a long time messed with my head. Or maybe killing a yomi with my own hands gave me some baseless, stupid courage. Si-hong's face shows determination as he calmly settles on a bold path. All my thoughts are pointing in one direction. I should go hunting. Cut to the dark area outside. where a tiny Yomi monster stands, rubbing its front paws together. Suddenly, a vehicle rushes forward, crushing the adorable Yomi. The armored fire truck, fitted with spikes on the front bumper, speeds along the highway at night. A loudspeaker blares, "This is the cockroach squad." Two female soldiers sit in the cabin. The one holding the radio urgently broadcasts, "Survivors, if you can hear this announcement, please wave anything you have out your windows. The cockroach squad, named for clinging to life despite the nuclear war. We will make it. Humanity will make it." Lieutenant Go-hee sits in the dark cabin, staring out at the ruined city. The loudspeaker continues, "This is the cockroach squad." Go-hee's eyes flash with determination, her mind calculating constantly. "No matter how much I think about it, this is definitely the only way." She recalls the sight of Si-hong clenching his teeth, cold sweat on his brow, his hands balled into fists, revealing the intense determination needed for a dangerous survival plan. Back in the past at the playground, young Si-hong closes his eyes tightly, clutching a spoon as a microphone, singing loudly, "Look at me!" Little Go-hee, wearing a martial arts uniform, glares angrily, her cheeks flushed red as she stares at her friend, shouting, "Hey!" Go-hee swings a wooden sword, chasing Si-hong as he runs for his life, loudly scolding him while he panics. "I told you not to sing that song, right? Why?" Go-hee's mother sighs, holding her forehead, while Si-hong's mother smiles awkwardly in the background as the two children keep chasing each other. "Go-hee, why are you yelling at Si-hong like that?" Si-hong's mother, "I'm so sorry. This child has such a strange temperament. No, it's fine. He's just a little kid. Who knows where he learned that song?" Lieutenant Go-hee sits in the dark cabin, her gaze sharp and contemplative. "Why am I only realizing this now? I've been to that apartment complex every week." A loud voice from the driver's seat breaks the silence in the armored vehicle. "Platoon leader." The female soldier sitting next to her turns to check on her superior. "Have you eaten anything yet?" Go-hee replies shortly, "No." The soldier continues to advise her, "Sir, you need to eat. You haven't had a meal in 2 days." Go-hee rubs her forehead wearily. "How can I eat? Over 50 households had their deliveries canceled this week because they ran out of food." The lieutenant's gaze turns icy as she hears her comrade's blunt remark, "However, you didn't hesitate to hit the residents who refused to eat cucumbers." Go-hee stays silent for a moment before explaining sternly, "You know that's to maintain order." The soldier offers an energy bar to her superior pleadingly. "At least eat this." Go-hee looks at the object in her subordinate's hand, confused. "What is this?" The soldier advises sincerely, "Please eat. You need strength if you want to save even one more person." Go-hee compromises, lowering her voice. "All right, I'll eat it." Go-hee bows her head, staring at the energy bar, her expression filled with sadness and heavy thoughts. The lieutenant's eyes blink and then widen, shining with determination and resolve amidst the dire circumstances. The soldier points out the window toward the rooftop of a distant building. Surprised, "A person. Isn't that a person?" Go-hee also squints to confirm. "Seems like it. They're waving something." Lieutenant Go-hee widens her eyes, her thoughtful face showing decisiveness. The armored vehicle wheels turn, rolling down the road. The lieutenant commands loudly, "Turn the vehicle around." The driver immediately responds, "Yes, sir." Cut to the apartment complex. Si-hong, wearing a backpack, carefully climbs over the balcony railing to cling to the iron frame outside the building in the silent night. Si-hong grips the iron bar, his whole body trembling as he looks down at the dizzying height, muttering, "Damn it, this is truly terrifying." Sang-yoon suddenly sticks his head out from the balcony, grabbing his friend's shoulder and shouting, "Hey, Si-hong, what the hell are you doing?" Si-hong startles and screams in panic, "You scared the hell out of me." Si-hong angrily scolds his best friend standing calmly on the balcony. "I almost fell. Use some common sense." Sang-yoon retorts grumpily, "Who do you think is more shocked, you or me? What? Common sense?" Sang-yoon continues to shout about his friend's reckless actions into the quiet space. "Common sense? Where are you going?" Si-hong firmly grips the iron frame, preparing to climb down, while Sang-yoon frantically spreads his arms to stop him. "You'll die if you go out there. You idiot," Si-hong retorts firmly. "If you just hole up in here, you'll starve to death." Sang-yoon leans out over the railing, pleading, Wait, you're not going scavenging at a convenience store or something, are you? Let's go together. I'll get ready. Si-hong firmly refuses from below. No, just stay there. You'll only get in the way. Sang-yoon frowns angrily, looking down at his stubborn friend, complaining. If you want to go, just go alone then. Si-hong, hanging below, calls back, hey. Sang-yoon looks down through the balcony railing, his face showing extreme worry. He mutters, what are we supposed to do with him? Isn't he going out there to throw his life away? Standing on the dark ground next to his backpack, Si-hong breaks into a cold sweat, bowing his head and panting heavily after the dangerous climb. The young man's sweat-drenched face looks up, his eyes showing a mix of shock and irritation. He laments, I almost died before even starting the mission. Why was that guy still awake at this hour? Si-hong starts, his eyes widening in tension as he looks to the side, hearing a strange sound in the darkness. Si-hong's mind immediately sounds an extreme danger alarm. He gasps, it's a Yomi! Without a second of hesitation, he reaches out to open the gray backpack on the ground to grab his weapon. His hands firmly grip a blue metal pipe. He then grabs the mini-gas blowtorch fixed to the pipe. Si-hong takes a steady stance, holding the bizarre homemade weapon high, ready to fight. Fire blasts from the blowtorch, creating a deadly arc. The young man provokes confidently, come here, I made this especially for you. Narration explains, a crescent blade of fire, created by placing a gas torch between two sawstrings. The semicircular flame tears through the darkness. The crescent fire blade, and a robot shaped like a fat cat with shaggy fur and an orange-spotted face stands obediently on the ground. Si-hong walks through the dark alley with his weapon, followed closely by the round robot cat. He thinks, this is my modified graduation project, Irun-si, or Robot Yomi. Memories flood back. Si-hong in his graduation gown proudly introduces the robot dog to his parents, making them step back in surprise. He says excitedly, this is a robot I developed. It's called Irun-si. His mother clutches her chest. Oh my god, that scared me. His father asks in surprise, that's a robot? Back in reality, Si-hong's face is covered in sweat, his sharp eyes focused intensely on the darkness ahead. He shakes his head, brushing off the unnecessary memories, and steels himself. Don't think about that right now. Just focus on what's happening right now. Si-hong's sneaker-clad foot nudges the robot cat. Go, Robot Yomi. Go lure them out. The robot cat's screen interface with target grid lines pops up, locking onto a monster standing in the distance. Through the camera lens, the monster suddenly turns its head to investigate, making Si-hong, sitting behind the screen, gasp nervously. It saw this way. The creature aggressively lunges toward the camera lens, surprising Si-hong. No! Si-hong turns to look at the robot cat trailing behind and grumbles with a frown. That bastard! Seriously. Si-hong crouches into a fighting stance with his weapon, his gaze intense. No, this is it. While it's distracted, aim for the neck. Si-hong's face hardens, his sharp eyes focusing all his attention on the target. The monster suddenly halts, its eyes widening in confusion as it realizes the impending danger. It hurriedly spins its head around to assess the situation. Si-hong lunges, swinging his flaming weapon to tear through the monster's body, splattering pink liquid everywhere. His sweat-drenched face shows clear relief as he cheers to himself. Success! Cut to a metal rescue ladder reaching up, its hook latching firmly onto the building wall. Seen from above, the armored fire truck extends its ladder straight up the side of the apartment building. He stands with arms crossed on the rescue basket, assessing. We can't go any higher. What floor is this? The soldier nearby reports. 2, 4, 6. Floor 15, sir. Lieutenant He continues to issue orders. Then we'll take the ladder to the 15th floor, and from there, we'll use the stairs. The soldier reports. Sir, that window doesn't open. He decides on a forceful plan. Then we break it and go in. We can't start from the first floor. The soldier worries. Who knows how many Yomi are in that building? The lieutenant holds her head high, taking a deep breath to calm herself, preparing for the difficult mission ahead. The thick window pane shatters into hundreds of small pieces, scattering everywhere. A special task force of 3 fully armed soldiers kicks the glass door open and rushes in, rifles in hand. Their military boots stomp heavily on the tiled floor as the task force moves quickly into the dark hallway. The soldier whispers, "How many people are in there? If there are too many, how do we get them all down?" He dismisses it. "No. First, we find them. We'll figure it out later." The team vigilantly shines their flashlights and points their guns along the hallway. The lieutenant asks for a status check. "Floor 15. Can you not sense anyone up here?" The lead soldier answers, "No, sir. Platoon leader." He orders them to continue. "Good. Then let's move forward." A large yellow furry monster suddenly appears, dropping from the ceiling, startling the soldier. The monster jumps out, clinging tightly to Lieutenant Gohi's face, sending her crashing backward. Her comrades scream in panic. "Platoon leader!" Gohi falls to the floor, struggling. A soldier prepares to fire, but his teammate stops him. "Careful! One small mistake and you'll hit the platoon leader." With the creature clinging tightly to her mask, Gohi's eyes widen in shock. She growls, enraged, "You!" The lieutenant firmly tears the monster off her face, slams it onto the floor, and roars, "Get lost!" A soldier behind her immediately raises his gun, targeting the monster to pull the trigger. The yellow creature looks up with teary, round eyes, radiating a harmless, sparkling aura. The soldier freezes, sweat on his brow, his eyes showing hesitation as he is distracted by the pitiful look. The monster remains still on the ground, blinking its teary eyes to evoke pity. A burst of gunfire suddenly rings out, piercing the target and tearing the creature's body into fragments and pink fluid. Lieutenant Gohi lowers her smoking gun, sternly scolding her subordinate. "Why were you hesitating?" The soldier bows his head in embarrassment. "Sorry, sir." Gohi glares sternly, loudly correcting her subordinates. "Get yourselves together," a soldier calls out. "Platoon leader." The two soldiers cautiously scan the dark hallway, discovering two glowing pink spots in the night. From the dense darkness, countless glowing pink eyes of the Yomi swarm suddenly appear all at once. The pink light reflects clearly on her visor. Gohi's eyes widen in extreme tension at the overwhelming number of enemies. The task force immediately pulls the triggers, firing continuously, creating sparks that tear through the darkness along the corridor. Gohi steps back while firing decisively to cover them, simultaneously ordering the whole team, "Retreat! Back to the door!" The entire squad lines up, firing non-stop to push back the frantically charging Yomi. Pink fluid splatters all over the walkway. A soldier behind reports urgently, "We've reached the door, sir." The lieutenant commands loudly, "On the count of 3, we rush in." Her steel-cold voice counts down each beat, preparing for the life-or-death moment. 1, 2, 3. The entire task force rushes inside and hurriedly slams the door shut. The soldiers lean their backs against the closed door, trying to block the Yomi outside. One asks, "Is everyone okay?" Gohi clutches her head exhaustedly and retorts, "Okay, my foot." The injured, "Hurry up and stop the bleeding." Hearing a noise from the corner, the lieutenant looks up with a confused expression, thinking to herself, "What is that?" A stranger's choked whisper rises from the darkness of the room. "You really came." The soldiers shine their flashlights toward the pink-haired girl sitting on the floor. One confirms, "You're the one who was waving the clothes earlier, right?" The pink-haired girl, tears streaming down her face, hugs her trembling legs and sobs, "Yes, that was me." Gohi widens her eyes in surprise, calling the girl's name, "Hayoi." The soldier beside her asks, "You know her, platoon leader?" The soldier hurriedly explains the pink-haired girl's identity. "You don't know Hayoi? She's the center of the 5th-generation idol group." Gohi replies awkwardly, "Ah, I'm not really into that." The idol, eyes brimming with tears and face pale with fear, continues to moan, "I really thought I was going to lose my life up here, you know?" Gohi's cheeks flush red. Her face is clearly embarrassed and speechless at this ironic situation. She thinks, this is going to be trouble. The neon sign of a 24-hour convenience store is shattered and tattered under the night sky. Sihong, weapon in hand, carefully enters the store, looking at the empty shelves and thinking, everything of value has already been cleaned out. The young man crouches down to thoroughly check the low shelves, adding, "At least on the lower shelves." His eyes land on a blue plastic bin containing spray cans and canned food. Sihong exclaims happily in his head, "Tuna! That's great. Tuna. Si-hong quickly picks up the can of tuna and a spray can, checking them again. His face relaxes with relief, telling himself, lucky to have grabbed some. Risking my life to come here wasn't in vain at all. Si-hong walks steadily with his weapon, deducing, attack with fire. Maybe this small discovery is the key to turning the whole current situation around. The young man's back fades into the darkness, carrying the spray can stowed in his backpack. He thinks, or maybe I don't know just because I'm always stuck at home. It's very likely this is something everyone already knows. Suddenly, Si-hong startles and spins around, his eyes wide with confusion. His train of thought is cut off. And even so, if humanity continues to fall into this pathetic state. Behind him on the stairs, two strange figures holding burning torches suddenly appear, making him vigilant. Who are you guys? Two strangers appear in the darkness, one holding a knife and the other a torch. The ginger-haired guy grumbles. I gathered all my courage to come all the way here, only to find someone else already got here and cleaned everything out. The torchbearer chimes in. Exactly. Si-hong breaks into a cold sweat, his face showing alarm as he hurriedly speaks up. Wait a second. Si-hong's mind becomes chaotic as he realizes a bitter truth. So everyone already knew about this. Si-hong stands alone in the dark aisle of the convenience store, facing the two armed men. The torchbearer steps forward, holding out an empty hand. Hand over what you're holding. I don't want any trouble. Si-hong frowns angrily, determined to protect his loot. Why should I? I got here first and found it myself. The torchbearer smirks sinisterly. Is that so? Then let's solve this according to the law. The two armed men close in, forcing Si-hong to retreat. The ginger-haired guy mocks. Oh right, like there's any law left. Si-hong yells in fear. You crazy bastards. The two thugs lunge forward simultaneously, swinging their torch and sharp knife directly at the target. He glances down at his robot cat. The ginger-haired guy yells in alarm. Yomi! Yomi! Fire! Fire! Fire from the homemade weapon blasts straight onto the robot cat's head. What? Fire doesn't work. Is it a mutation? It's completely different. The robot cat turns and charges straight toward the two men. The two men turn and flee in terror, running past Si-hong. Run! Run! What is that thing? Si-hong sits on the floor, sighing with relief beside his robot cat. Good job, Irun-si. I brought it along to lure Yomi, but who would have thought I'd need it to scare off humans? He opens his backpack to check his loot contentedly. I managed to protect it. Si-hong's face distorts into a terrifying expression to keep up the act. I have to fake my death convincingly, otherwise they won't believe it until the very end. Si-hong carefully climbs back onto the building's iron frame to return. I guess I'm not afraid of climbing anymore since I almost lost my life earlier. The young man smiles confidently on his way back to his nest. If I ration this carefully, I can make it last for 3 days. Si-hong bows his head, calculating the amount of food he's gathered. If I really ration it, it might last for a full week. The young man frowns, deeply contemplative, focusing his mind on his current survival situation. Sang-yoon rushes to the door to greet his friend and loudly questions him. Wait a minute. A convenience store? Did you really go to a convenience store? Si-hong replies calmly. Yeah, the one right in front. Sang-yoon gasps in shock. No, he's lost his mind. Seriously. Cut to Sang-yoon, mouth wide open, using a spoon to scoop a large chunk of tuna into his mouth. His friend closes his eyes, savoring the delicious flavor, cheeks bulging as he chews ravenously. Si-hong also widens his eyes in shock and emotion, his mouth still stuffed with food. Tears stream down his face, his eyes gleaming with overwhelming happiness. Sang-yoon glances at his friend sobbing over the dining table and asks in surprise, What's wrong? Are you crying? Si-hong keeps his head down, shoveling more food into his mouth. Just as he's about to make an excuse, he sees Sang-yoon's face is also full of tears. By nature, I'm just an easy crier. The two sit around the small round table. Sang-yoon eats the tuna heartily and exclaims, In the end, God really hasn't abandoned me. Si-hong, sitting opposite him, coldly exposes him. More accurately, I'm the one who hasn't abandoned you. Flashback to the parking lot. Sang-yoon rushes down the stairs and asks loudly, You're the one who called just now, right? Si-hong, standing next to the car, replies embarrassedly, "Yes. I'm sorry. I'm a new driver." Sang-yoon stares at the severely smashed and scratched rear of the green car, gasping in shock. Sang-yoon smiles and gives a thumbs up to reassure him. "I'll let it slide this time. It's all about neighborly love." Si-hong asks in surprise, "Really?" Sang-yoon asserts firmly, "Really, it's fine." Sang-yoon waves his hand cheerfully. "Of course. It was a piece of junk anyway. Buy me a beer next time." Back to the dark apartment, Sang-yoon asks, "Si-hong, how much more do you have?" Si-hong rummages through his backpack. "Just this. One more can of tuna, pork cutlet sauce, and a gas canister." "Why do you ask?" They sit facing each other across the small table. Sang-yoon hesitantly suggests, "Well, if you have some to spare, maybe we could share a little with the other residents." Si-hong immediately retorts harshly, "Are you crazy? Don't ever mention that again." Si-hong grinds his teeth angrily. "Those bastards deserve to be beaten to death." Sang-yoon waves his hand, trying to calm him down. "Don't be so harsh. I think the people here are actually quite nice." Sang-yoon explains calmly, "I find them very interesting. They feel like the villains on a dating show, right? We can't watch TV or use phones, but they put on a whole drama right before our eyes." Sang-yoon's face shows clear amusement, his mouth curling into a smile. "Every time. I look forward to it. I wonder what mindless things they'll say today." Si-hong stares at his friend, speechless, and exposes him. "So, you mean, getting your dopamine fix is more important than food?" Sang-yoon raises his arms happily. "If you don't like it, don't bother with it." Si-hong frowns uncomfortably as he watches Sang-yoon humming with his eyes closed. "Why are you talking like that?" "Well, being stuck here with nothing to do, I'm practicing my vibrato." "Vibrato? Didn't you get slapped for adding vibrato to the national anthem in the army?" Sang-yoon shrugs smugly. "Well, there's no one to curse at me now." Si-hong stares ahead and replies coldly, "That guy is probably dead too, with that annoying personality of his." A muscular hand wields a cleaver, slamming it down on a wooden cutting board, severing a fish head as blood splatters everywhere. The scene shifts to the massive back of a man standing in a brightly lit kitchen. The narration echoes. Meanwhile, there are those who seek to profit from this chaos. The sous chef, wearing an animal-shaped hat, walks over to report to the bearded head chef. "Chef, we're ready, sir." "Good. Pack this up too." "Yes, sir." The head chef and the sous chef sit comfortably in the cockpit of a boat. "Let's depart." "Yes, sir." The pedal boat carrying the two men skims quickly over the water, leaving white foam in its wake. A large sign reads, "Authorized personnel only." The duck boat heads toward a large two-story floating station in the middle of the river. The narration continues. Love of the Han River. Cranes pull huge nets full of fresh fish from beneath the water. They fish from the Han River. The sous chefs pour buckets of water drawn from the river into a giant pot boiling on a blazing fire. The narration concludes, "And boil Han River water to sell." 3 large trucks follow each other along the riverside road, heading toward the city. The bearded chef rests his chin on his hand, looking out the cabin window. Survivors call them the water merchants. The henchman driving the truck asks, "Where are we going today?" "Gujimdong District, sir." The conversation continues. "Really? Isn't that a poor neighborhood? Are you sure they have enough gold?" The henchman frowns, his face clearly showing disdain and annoyance. "Well, that's what they claim. You told them we only accept gold, batteries, and fuel, didn't you? All those bastards gather a bunch of random trash and beg us to take it. It's so annoying to keep refusing." The truck's dashboard sits silently in the frame. "Especially designer handbags or golf clubs, that kind of trash. I told them we don't accept those. I'll make it clear again when we get there today." The chef's face exudes cold murderous intent. Chef, real name and age unknown, the leader of the water merchants. He ruthlessly orders. "If any bastard brings an exercise bike to trade for meat, gouge his eyes out with a fork. We were too kind killing him last time." The henchman complies. "Yes, chef." The chef turns to stare at the thing on the henchman's head. Confused. "What's that thing on your head?" The sous chef explains embarrassedly. "Well, there's a superstition that Yomi won't bite you to death if you wear something cute." The chef looks displeased. The henchman hurriedly replies to appease his superior. "Mine is, I'll take it off for you in a moment. The white truck brakes sharply, its tires screeching to a halt on the tiled ground. The chef stands with his hands behind his back before a crowd of emaciated survivors waiting. He announces loudly, "Mealtime is here." Two calloused hands carefully open the white cloth, revealing glittering gold rings and necklaces inside. An elderly man tremblingly hands over the gold to the chef. "We gathered all the gold in the house." The chef replies contentedly, "Good." The chef turns to order the henchman in the animal hat, standing right behind him. "Henchman, give them some fish and water." The henchman yells, "Yes, sir." The henchman hands a flat black bag to the old man and smirks. "I gave you more than the standard ration." The old man grabs the bag tightly, twisting it, panicking. "Wait, only this much? This is easily worth over 1,000,000 won." The chef looks down with a mocking expression, flanked by two armed guards in funny animal hats. He jokes, "That's right, customer. But that's only true in a world where money has value." The old man yells angrily in protest, while the chef maintains his cold attitude. "Even so, this is ridiculous. Who are you trying to trick with this? Give my gold back. I'd rather starve to death." The chef raises an eyebrow. "Is that so? Hey kid, give him a hand." A henchman wearing a pink rabbit suit walks over to the old man with a grin. "Yes, chef." The henchman in the pink rabbit suit suddenly swings his knee hard into the old man's face with great force, spraying blood into the air. The crowd of survivors behind covers their mouths in shock, their faces filled with extreme terror at the brutal attack. The chef turns to frown and yell at the henchman in the pink rabbit suit, standing next to the corpse with a knife. "Hey, what the hell are you doing, you idiot?" The henchman startles and replies confusedly, "You told me to help him die." The chef interrupts irritably, "Help them get their money back, you idiot." The henchman bows his head frantically, apologizing, "Sorry." The chef closes his eyes and rubs his forehead, feigning tolerance. "It's okay. A mistake is only a mistake if you keep making it." The henchman straightens up. "Yes." Flashback appears. A girl screams in panic. The water merchant's trucks rumble through the streets. Back to reality. Si-hong sits listlessly on the sofa in the dark apartment, hands clasped together. The young man mutters to himself, "I'm hungry again. Has tuna always tasted this good?" Si-hong's face is glazed over, a drop of saliva running down the corner of his mouth. He continues thinking, "I just keep thinking about it. I can't stand it." The craving for food dances in Si-hong's head. This must be love. Si-hong's mind wanders to others out there. He wonders to himself, "I wonder if Yoon Do-hyun is still alive." Si-hong's face shows clear determination. He frowns, asserting his intense belief. "I hope he's still alive somewhere. My rock star." Si-hong's eyes follow a distant memory of a used air conditioner and appliance store named Si-hong Sangsa. His thoughts drift away. "I wonder if that woman is still alive." Si-hong carefully uses a screwdriver to assemble a mechanical arm under the quiet desk lamp, with a small white dog sleeping soundly beside him. A woman bursts through the door, loudly reminding him, "Ryu Si-hong, don't you dare try to modify anything weird again." Si-hong replies calmly, "So what?" The woman threatens, "I'll tell your aunt." He responds dully, "Go ahead." The woman turns to the hallway and screams loudly, "Aunt, come here and look." "Hey, go he. Hey." Si-hong stops his work, eyes widening in surprise when he hears the familiar name. Back to the present. Lieutenant Go he listens silently with a sad, contemplative expression. The exterior of a quiet, fortified facility with a carefully fenced iron gate and a sign reading, "Yomi Eradication." The pink-haired girl sits obediently, arms crossed, introducing herself. "My name is Kim Hyeon. I'm 21 years old. My job is a singer. I go by the stage name Hyoi." A soldier asks, "Have you been in that building the whole time?" Hyeon points at her face, denying in surprise. "What? No way. There's no food there. I've been moving constantly, searching for places with people." Hyeon brushes away a tear welling in her eyes. The soldier asks further, "So, the others in that building?" The girl answers sadly, "All of them, not a single one left." Go-hee and her teammates sit sternly, arms crossed on chairs opposite, silently watching Hyeon sobbing in despair. Go-hee watches the girl sitting opposite her with crossed arms. The lieutenant thinks to herself, so cute. The female soldier turns to whisper to her comrade, I didn't know she was that famous. Everyone in the unit knows her. Of course. Don't you know the song Cutie Virus? The female soldier asks blankly, what song is that? The lieutenant excitedly lists a series of song titles. The theme song on Hyoi's third album, What About Sharp Love? Haven't heard of it. I Wanna Bite You to Death? Heart Bubble? Bongjak Puljak? The female soldier breaks into a cold sweat. Confused. Sorry, I haven't heard any of those. Platoon leader, are you a fan? Go he startles, embarrassed. Go he turns away, blushing, avoiding her subordinate's gaze. Not really. I just listen to her music sometimes. Go he sees someone approaching and startles, standing at attention. Yes, Ms. Hyon. Hyon, wrapped tightly in a blanket, bows shyly. About rescuing me. Thank you once again. Go he waves her hand. It's nothing. It was the right thing to do. Hyon wonders. I want to repay everyone, but I don't know what I should do. Hyon smiles and raises a finger, suggesting, maybe I could sing a few songs when all the soldiers gather. Go he completely loses control, lunging toward Hyon with an extremely excited expression. You'd really do that? Then? Cut to a quiet display of the exterior of apartment complex 101 under a gray, cloudy sky. Si-hong slides down to sit on the floor, leaning his head back against the sofa to rest. My stamina is completely drained. The lens focuses on a trash bin filled with empty tuna cans and waste bottles. Continuing. It's been 9 days since the supplies stopped. I've finished the last can of tuna. Si-hong's face is gaunt, gasping for air in fatigue and regret, and licked up every last drop of pork cutlet sauce. Should I not have shared my food with others? Si-hong startles, eyes looking up at the ceiling, listening to the announcement echoing down. This is the floor representative. Residents, please gather on the rooftop. A view from above looking down at the rooftop covered with green carpet and littered with trash, where a group of survivors is gathering. Sang-yoon leans close to whisper to Si-hong on the rooftop. Hey, Si-hong, you don't have any food left, do you? Si-hong answers tensely. I showed you everything in my backpack earlier, and I told you not to talk about that. A young couple walks over, the wife anxiously supporting her husband, who grimaces while clutching his stomach. Are you okay, honey? I'm okay. Taeyong's mom stands with her hands on her hips, furious, next to Taeyong's dad and their son. She complains loudly. It's been nearly 10 days since the supplies stopped and there hasn't been a single update. Something extremely serious has happened. I'm telling you. The old man from room 411 shows visible fatigue on his haggard face, calmly advising the crowd. Let's wait just a little longer. Taeyong's dad points aggressively at the old man from room 411, retorting, wait for what? This old man doesn't have much time left and he's already starting to talk nonsense. The old man from room 411 replies calmly, at this time, how can anyone know who will die first? Taeyong's dad raises his fist to threaten the old man from room 411, while Taeyong's mom rushes in to intervene. Taeyong's dad growls, do you want me to show you? Should I? The crowd screams in panic. Look, look, stop it. Taeyong's dad, stop. A loud voice rings out, grabbing everyone's attention. Everyone. Taeyong's mom stands tall, her face serious, proposing to the crowd. Some of us need to go out and find some food. Hearing the sudden suggestion, Si-hong, Sang-yoon, and the old man from room 411 all widen their eyes, their faces showing confusion and surprise. The ginger-haired wife clings to her injured husband's arm, her gaze questioning Taeyong's mom. Wait, how do you get to decide who goes? Taeyong's mom stands opposite the group of young people on the rooftop to make her case. First of all, the young people here should. The crowd immediately protests indignantly. What are you talking about? That's not right. Hey, you woman. The injured man angrily points his finger straight at young Taeyong. Taeyong's dad immediately steps up to shield his son. The injured man challenges. Then the kid should go too. He's the youngest. Taeyong's dad replies furiously. Are you crazy? He's only 11. Think carefully before you open your mouth. Sang-yoon stands between Si-hong and the injured man, smiling and trying to soothe the situation with a peaceful solution. How about rock, paper, scissors? An extremely tense atmosphere envelopes the exterior of the dark apartment complex. The synchronized chanting echoes through the space. Rock, paper, scissors. Rock, paper, scissors. Rock, paper, scissors. 7 hands from the survivors simultaneously shoot out into the circle with rock, paper, and scissors shapes to decide their fate. The 3 young men, Si-hong, Sang-yoon, and the injured man, stare in stunned silence at the rock, paper, scissors result. Taeyong's parents hug their son, exhaling in relief. Thank heaven, thank God. The old man from 411 grimaces, muttering, forget God. If there were a God, would the world be this pathetic? The ginger-haired girl waves her arms in protest. The result doesn't count. Do it again. I saw you throw late. Taeyong's mom snaps. Late, my foot. What nonsense are you spouting? Taeyong's dad raises his fist threateningly. He lost? Get going, before I burn this place down and kill everyone. Because we're gonna starve to death anyway. Taeyong's dad stretches his neck, challenging him. Oh, you want to kill us all? Give it a try. The heavy metal door leading down to the apartment complex basement is slowly pulled aside. Si-hong, Sang-yoon, and the injured man, weapons in hand, cautiously make their way step by step through the trash-filled street. Si-hong, wearing a bicycle helmet, thinks tensely. If I had to go out, it would be better to hide alone. Why do I have to risk my life to bring food back to those bastards? He bows his head, resigning to reality. What can I do? It's come to this. I have no choice but to go. But Sang-yoon and the injured man cling tightly to Si-hong's shoulders, pushing the responsibility onto him. You're the smartest one here, so it makes sense for you to lead. Exactly. Si-hong mutters in frustration. Why are they clinging to me? It's ridiculous. Si-hong and the injured man head down the street. The man asks, Si-hong, which supermarket are we going to? The convenience store up ahead. Seong replies tensely, no, we're going somewhere else. Choin's supermarket. The man is surprised, while Si-hong thinks to himself, there's nothing left there. The 3 hide behind a car. The man wonders, why? That's the closest convenience store. Si-hong explains, Choin's supermarket is bigger. Sang-yoon laughs proudly. That's why you're the smart one. From a dark corner behind a large trash bin, thick green bushes rustle, emitting suspicious, scraping sounds. The man hurriedly signals his 2 friends to stop. Wait, you heard that too, right? Si-hong breaks into a cold sweat in fear. Damn it! Sang-yoon also looks around in confusion. A tiny, deceptively cute-looking Yomi suddenly lunges from the bushes, aiming straight for the man. Si-hong's eyes widen in shock, his jaw tight with surprise at the sudden appearance of the strange creature. Sang-yoon panics and retreats while the injured man quickly swings his baseball bat, striking the Yomi and sending it flying to the ground. Sang-yoon screams in fear. The Yomi is knocked away but immediately bounces back with incredible speed. The man angrily swings his bat to deflect the attack as the Yomi lunges straight at his face with tremendous force. The Yomi clings tightly to the man's face with its sharp claws. He winces, trying to pry the strange creature off with his hands, screaming, Get this thing off me! Sang-yoon swings a shovel, striking the monster on Si-hong's hand, cursing angrily, You crazy, damn Yomi! Si-hong panics, turning back to call out loudly, Sang-yoon, get out of here! Hurry! Si-hong decisively activates his homemade weapon, blasting a large flame that incinerates the tiny monster, splattering pink fluid. Sang-yoon's eyes widen in horror, sweat pouring down his forehead at the scene before him. Back at the base, Lieutenant Go-hee slumps over on a chair in the locker room, completely exhausted. Her body sways, and she nods off to sleep from extreme fatigue. A loud call from outside breaks the quiet atmosphere. Platoon leader of the 3rd platoon. Go-hee startles awake. A young soldier enters, gesturing and asking, Aren't you going? Go-hee replies, bewildered, Go where? The soldier explains in surprise. You don't know? Hyoi is performing at the assembly area. Go-hee widens her eyes in panic. What? Right now? The lieutenant runs for her life to the assembly area. She bows over, gasping for air, eyes fixed on the high platform where the singer stands before hundreds of soldiers. Go-hee widens her sweat-covered eyes, looking at the crowd, and thinks, It's already packed. Did they announce this while I was napping? I've been pushing myself too hard lately and fell asleep without realizing it. Hyoi steps onto the high platform and waves. Below, hundreds of soldiers are frantically chanting her name. Hyoi, 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 Hyoi. The lieutenant watches from afar, swaying to the rhythm. Cutie, 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 bang, bang. Cutie, cutie. She continues to rave. Even from this far away, I can see every feature of hers clearly. With a face that tiny, Gohee smiles, admiring the idol card in her hand, thinking to herself, I was too nervous earlier, so I couldn't say anything. I could ask for an autograph, right? Gohee's eyes harden when she sees a soldier shouting wildly in the front row. She frowns and mutters, that damn Sergeant Kim, enjoying himself right in the front row. He doesn't even know the song. Hyoi closes her eyes slightly, smiling gently as she raises the microphone to announce, the song I'm going to sing for you right now is an unreleased track. Gohee's eyes widen in utter disbelief, and she mutters, an unreleased track? That's insane. Maybe this pathetic world isn't entirely terrible. The singer points to the stands, stirring up the atmosphere. Is everyone ready? Hundreds of arms reach up to the sky in intense response. We're ready. Hyoi confidently puts one hand forward, smiling radiantly. Shall we begin? Gohee completely drops her professional image, eyes squeezed shut and hands clenched tight, screaming with joy, start it! Hyoi smiles radiantly, raising one finger to the sky, and begins to sing confidently. If you're cute, you win. If you're cute, you win. The singer closes her eyes, swaying her body to the beat, continuing the song. Ugly chickens become food for cute cats. Rabbits are cute, but they become food for even cuter cats. Gohee frowns, sweat beading on her forehead, confusedly thinking, the lyrics are hard to understand, but she's still incredibly adorable. Hyoi spreads her legs wide and points forward powerfully, singing loudly, cuteness is the source of life. It's the motivation to raise children. It's the power that sustains this world. The idol hugs the microphone tightly, eyes closed with emotion. If only cute things remained in this world, wouldn't that be wonderful? Suddenly, Hyoi changes to a steely tone, raising a finger in warning. However, humans are not cute. They are dirty, ugly, and selfish. The singer winks, firing floating heart shapes, and smiles radiantly. But Hyoi is the exception. Everyone, become food for cute Hyoi. Gohee bows her head, lost in thought. What's with those lyrics? Did she write them herself? Countless giant spikes suddenly pierce through the concrete under the assembly ground, impaling a series of soldiers and spraying blood everywhere. Gohee's female subordinate stares in horror, coughing up blood as a sharp spike pierces through her chest. Gohee breaks into a cold sweat, her eyes widening in horror as she gasps. What is happening? Sergeant Kimo. Hyoi stands silently amidst the ruins. A close-up reveals Hyoi's cold gaze. One of her eyes suddenly flashes with an eerie, purplish-pink light. Back on the streets, the three men sneak through the ruins. The man from room 301 clings to Sang-yoon, grumbling, can't we keep the torch lit while we walk? Sang-yoon snaps, stop clinging to me. Si-hong, leading with his weapon, retorts, do you not care about running out of gas? The man from room 301 follows behind Si-hong and continues to ask, but, how did you find out fire works on them? Did you see someone do it? Si-hong breaks into a cold sweat and stammers. It's because... Sang-yoon suddenly screams in excitement, piercing the quiet space. A supermarket! Sang-yoon happily points his shovel toward the building with the Choin Mart sign ahead. That's a supermarket, right? The man from room 301 nods repeatedly. That's right. That's it. The man from room 301 stretches his neck to look ahead. Then his footsteps suddenly freeze in the middle of the road. He startles and steps back defensively, raising his baseball bat and screaming in panic as he sees bodies scattered across the ground. What is this? Si-hong and Sang-yoon break into cold sweats, their faces filled with extreme confusion. Si-hong deduces, maybe these were people who made it this far but failed. Sang-yoon trembles in fear. Si-hong, should we turn back? Sang-yoon and the man from room 301, weapons in hand, run after Si-hong. Sang-yoon shouts loudly, turn back? We're not turning back. Where are you going alone? Let's go together. Si-hong, let's go together. The front of Choin Mart appears in ruins, with a pile of rubble blocking the entrance. The three sneak into the supermarket. Sang-yoon gasps in amazement at the amount of goods remaining. Si-hong carefully observes the surrounding shelves and wonders to himself, why is there so much food here? We should have come here from the beginning. Sang-yoon happily scavenges food boxes, throwing them into his plastic basket.
Mackerel, fruit cocktail, ham?
This is crazy, absolutely crazy. The man from room 301 licks his lips in hunger, salivating as he holds a green bottle of liquor. Si-hong picks up a tube of toothpaste and looks at it with joy. Toothpaste! Finally, I can get rid of this stinking breath. Si-hong instructs Sang-yoon as he prepares to leave. You keep searching around. I'll go find batteries and gas. Sang-yoon gives a happy military salute. Yes, sir. Si-hong, one hand holding the plastic basket and the other his weapon, keeps turning his head to look around vigilantly. Si-hong's gaze stops at a shelf protected by a wire mesh. He exclaims, gas! There's a whole bunch here. Si-hong, in his helmet, looks around the supermarket, calculating. Good. I'll take as much as I can carry. Now, where are the batteries? Si-hong's eyes widen behind his glasses, sweat beating up as he discovers a silent threat ahead. A giant Yomi monster made of countless tiny Yomi stands towering in the aisle, blocking Si-hong's path. Si-hong gasps in shock. What is that? What the hell is that? Sang-yoon excitedly runs over, clutching a food box to show off. Si-hong, 2 cans of chicken breast. Si-hong frantically waves him off. Don't come over here. Sang-yoon walks up, bewildered, and asks, why? What's over there? The man from room 301, following behind, retreats in fear when he spots the monster. The hideous monster reveals its gruesome form under the lights. The man from room 301 screams in terror. What the hell is that? The giant creature takes a step towards Si-hong. He tries to reassure himself. Stay calm. It's just a bigger one, that's all. Si-hong's face hardens, his eyes radiating high determination. Actually, that means there's more surface area to attack. Si-hong's sweaty hands firmly twist the gas valve on his homemade weapon, preparing to dive into the life-or-death battle. A close-up of Si-hong's sweat-drenched face. He frowns, his eyes behind his glasses filled with extreme focus and tension. The giant Yomi swipes hard. Si-hong is sent flying through the air, dropping his homemade weapon on the floor. Si-hong hits the ground backward. His glasses slide off, and a long crack appears on the lens. He winces in pain. The man from room 301 flees in panic. Sang-yoon turns and yells Si-hong's name, then angrily scolds the man fleeing. Where do you think you're going? The giant Yomi monster takes steps towards Si-hong. Its gruesome shadow engulfs him. Si-hong grinds his teeth, his face drenched in sweat. His eyes burn with a mix of fear and extreme rage. The scene abruptly shifts to the assembly area. Countless giant spikes pierce through the concrete, pinning a row of soldiers, blood spraying everywhere. Go-hee widens her eyes in shock, her face covered in sweat. The lieutenant stands stunned, witnessing the bloody tragedy that just struck. Meanwhile, Hyoi stands quietly as if nothing happened. Hyoi's cold gaze. One of her eyes flashes with an eerie, purplish-pink light. Go-hee's eyes bulge, sweat pouring down as she witnesses the bloody massacre. She gasps in shock. What the hell?
Sergeant Kimo.
Go-hee retreats in panic as the ground beneath her feet cracks, and sharp spikes continuously erupt, piercing the air. Hyoi stands silently on the high platform, clutching the microphone, her face dark and filled with unpredictable danger. Hyoi's hand grips the pink microphone tightly, seemingly channeling power into it. Suddenly, countless tiny, cute-looking Yomi monsters erupt from the dry, barren ground around the assembly area. Dozens of Yomi leap into the air simultaneously, lunging straight at Go-hee. The lieutenant breaks into a cold sweat, running for her life, wondering, what the hell just happened? Go-hee frowns, her eyes showing a mix of shock and anger. How could Hyoi? How could Hyoi? Hyoi stands coldly on the platform, watching Go-hee with her arms crossed. Sharp spikes continuously launch from the Yomi, piercing Go-hee. She grits her teeth in pain as blood pours from small wounds on her abdomen and arm. As she runs, Go-hee keeps her eyes peeled. Suddenly, a tiny Yomi leaps from above, aiming straight for her head. Suddenly it explodes, and Go-hee is blown high into the air by a massive fiery force. her body flailing in the energy vortex. The female lieutenant is thrown hard to the ground, supporting her battered and bleeding body with one hand. She stares at the military vehicle in the distance, calculating in her head. Just get to that car. There's a car right ahead. Go, he grits her teeth against the pain, sprinting at full speed toward the car. She tries to close the distance while the small Yomi growl and chase closely behind her. She runs and prays at the same time. The key must be in there. Go, he climbs into the car, her gloved hand hurriedly turning the key to start the engine. She screams in desperation. Start. Hurry up and start. The female lieutenant sits in the driver's seat in extreme tension, sweat drenching her forehead. Through the windshield, the pack of Yomi is frantically rushing in, getting closer by the second. The military vehicle roars to life, frantically sweeping through the gathering area, crushing dozens of tiny Yomi under its wheels and sending blood splattering everywhere. In another corner, Hayoi calmly observes the escaping vehicle. Her orange eyes gleam with a ruthless, completely still coldness. Go, he grips the steering wheel tightly, slamming on the gas to speed away, her face clearly showing the tension and pain from her wounds. Transitioning to the supermarket, the massive shadow of the Yomi engulfs Sihong, who is kneeling on the floor. It slowly approaches from behind. The giant Yomi growls, raising its hideous arm high, preparing to deliver a finishing blow to Sihong. He grits his teeth, sweating profusely under the terrifying pressure of the monster. Sang-yoon, in a state of panic, pushes a supermarket shopping cart straight into the monster. Sang-yoon squeezes his eyes shut, screaming in absolute despair. Sihong, run! Sihong falls flat on the floor, his eyes darting to his makeshift weapon that was thrown far away, rolling among the trash. A hand firmly grasps the shovel handle, decisively lifting it off the ground. Sihong gains momentum and leaps into the air, fiercely swinging the flaming shovel straight at the giant monster. He thinks to himself, maybe because it's too big, the fire won't be able to pierce through in one hit. Sang-yoon screams, "Hey! What the hell are you doing? Run away quickly!" Sang-yoon is thrown hard to the floor after being counterattacked and sent flying by the giant Yomi. Sang-yoon grimaces and picks up the shovel, runs toward the monster, and angrily curses out loud. This bastard monster! But contrary to his expectations, he is slapped by the monster without it missing a beat. Punches him, sending him flying away. Sihong crouches down, reaching out to grab the makeshift weapon dropped on the ground. Sihong swings the weapon hard, spewing a massive blast of fire to attack the Yomi head-on. He screams desperately, "Get out of the way! Stay away!" His eyes widen in panic behind his glasses. The giant Yomi delivers a thunderous blow straight down on Sihong, crushing him against the wall. The giant monster's body is made up of countless hideous tiny Yomi stuck tightly together. A bizarre, hairless pink creature suddenly appears, slithering over to observe the mess. The young man from room 301 runs for his life, sweating profusely. He frantically turns his head back, wondering, what the hell is this now? He stops short, gripping his baseball bat tightly as two small Yomi block the way ahead. He squeezes his eyes shut, swinging the bat wildly in the air to drive the monsters away. He screams, "Get lost! Get lost!" Then he runs for his life toward the entrance of Building 102. He heads toward the barricade, calling for help. "The door! Open the door!" Taeyong's father, the old man from room 411, and the girlfriend startle and turn to look at the steel door. The girlfriend happily exclaims, "That's his voice! Is he back?" The girlfriend hurriedly runs over to unlatch the lock, decisively pushing the metal bar to one side. The heavy steel door slowly opens, revealing the dark space outside. The young man from room 301 panics, clinging to the door crack, panting heavily. The girlfriend asks worriedly, "Honey, where are the others?" The guy waves his hands wildly. I don't know. Let's talk inside." Suddenly, a sharp spike pierces right into the middle of the young man from room 301's forehead, sending blood splattering. His eyes roll back in pain. Taeyong's parents, the old man from room 411, and the girlfriend gasp in shock. The young man from room 301 collapses, revealing a hideous Yomi clinging tightly to his back. The girlfriend screams at the top of her lungs, tearing through the quiet atmosphere of apartment building 102. The military car speeds along the bumpy road, the truck bed bouncing continuously. Go-hee focuses intensely on steering the wheel. Blood oozing from the wounds on her arm and waist soaks her shirt flap. Sweat dots Go-hee's forehead, her eyes exuding a determination intertwined with extreme tension. The military helicopter hovers over the roof of the ruined building, dropping a rope ladder down to where the group of survivors is gathered. Go-hee, fully covered in tactical gear, firmly says out loud, "I already told you, I can only take one more person." The old woman and old man hold tightly to the sobbing schoolgirl, pleading with Go-hee, "Please take this child.
Mom,
I beg you." The girl screams in protest. "I don't want to. I won't go anywhere alone." Go-hee's eyes widen in confusion through her safety goggles at the pleas and screaming cries. "Please take her. I beg you. I won't go. I said I won't go." Go-hee decisively swings her hand, slapping the schoolgirl hard across the face, cutting off her crying. The girl falls to the ground unconscious. The two elders exclaim in panic. "Wait, what are you doing? Hey, child!" Go-hee hoists the unconscious schoolgirl onto her shoulder, turning her back and walking toward the helicopter. The two elders stand silently watching her back, painfully praying. "Oh God, please bless us." Go-hee grips the rope ladder with one hand and holds the girl tightly with the other, gradually climbing higher. She commands through the walkie-talkie, "Board the aircraft." The subordinate's voice replies, "Roger, platoon leader." The helicopter slowly takes off into the sky, taking Go-hee and the girl away, leaving the two elders standing helplessly on the roof of the building. The flashback ends. Go-hee's face contorts, her eyes drenched in sweat and filled with an immensely tormenting obsession. The little girl, wrapped in a blanket, cried bitterly, looking up and asking Go-hee, "Do you think my grandparents are still alive?" Go-hee softened her voice to comfort her. "Of course, the backup team must have arrived right after." The girl tearfully asked again, "Do you really think so?" Go-hee half closed her eyes, her face clearly showing extreme guilt and heartbreak. The military vehicle revved its engine and sped frantically down the road, leaving behind a thick cloud of dust. The car suddenly stalled. Go-hee frustratingly slammed her hand on the steering wheel, snapping, "Why is this happening? Why did it stop? This thing. Are we out of gas?" She opened the door, stepped out of the car, and sighed wearily to herself. "Well, I didn't have a specific destination anyway. They can't follow us all the way here, right?" The words appeared amidst the quiet bushes. In that moment of relief, Go-hee had forgotten. Peeking out from behind the dense bushes, countless glowing pink eyes silently appeared. A harsh truth was revealed, that the Yomi were everywhere. A pack of Yomi suddenly leaped out of the bushes, lunging straight at Go-hee, making her startle and panic. Go-hee's gloved hand decisively pulled the tactical knife from the sheath on her thigh. She gritted her teeth in despair. "Damn it, am I going to die here?" Go-hee took a firm stance, brandishing her tactical knife. Even though her body was covered in bleeding wounds, her eyes still exuded a cold sharpness, ready to fight the monsters to the bitter end. 3 small Yomi simultaneously launched into the air, diving straight at their prey. Go-hee's eyes widened to the max, the image of the monsters reflected clearly in her shrinking pupils in terror. Suddenly, all 3 Yomi exploded into blinding pink flashes of light, right before they could even touch Go-hee. Go-hee stood frozen for a few seconds, sweat dripping down her face, completely unable to comprehend what strange phenomenon had just saved her life. A white dirt bike sped up and braked sharply right in front of Go-hee, its wheels crushing the remains of the monsters. The rider wore a camouflage jacket and a highly conspicuous helmet with 2 cat ears. Go-hee still hadn't regained her senses, staring blankly and wondering, "Wait, where did they come from?" The motorcycle rider urgently yelled, Get on the bike, hurry." Go-hee asked awkwardly, "What?" In the distance, a massive pack of Yomi was surging forward in a frantic sprint. In a state of emergency, Go-hee hurriedly climbed onto the back seat, wrapped her arms tightly around the stranger's waist, and said quickly, "Excuse me for a moment." The rider in the cat ear helmet revved the throttle, speeding the motorcycle down the main road, leaving the waddling monsters behind. Sitting on the back seat, Go-hee turned her head, shooting a curious and scrutinizing look at the mysterious rider who had just saved her life. Transitioning to the supermarket, Si-hong was being lifted into the air, his neck tightly squeezed by the giant monster's hand. He grimaced in pain and struggled. The hairless, pink little monster wearing a striped scarf stood on the giant monster's shoulder, watching Si-hong struggle. From a distance, Sang-yoon gained momentum and hurled an object hard at the giant monster's back, then loudly cursed, "You bastard monster!" Si-hong opened his eyes in panic, sweating profusely upon seeing Sang-yoon's reckless action. Si-hong caught sight of the plastic bottle Sang-yoon was holding and yelled instructions. "That red cap? Open it and throw it." Sang-yoon confusingly held the bottle and asked back, "This?" Si-hong continued urging, "Hurry up!" Sang-yoon's hand hastily grabbed the red cap on the plastic bottle and decisively twisted it open. Sang-yoon sprang up into the air, putting all his strength into hurling the liquid-filled bottle at the monster while shouting, "Take this!" A stream of white liquid splashed everywhere, soaking the upper half of the monster's body. It absent-mindedly hugged the plastic jerrycan, looking dumbfounded, not understanding what had just happened to it. Si-hong clenched his teeth, his face burning with murderous intent, determined to fight the monster to the end. He swung his makeshift weapon hard, spewing a giant pillar of fire that lit up the corner of the room, and shouted, "Taste the alcohol!" Si-hong followed up with a thunderous kick straight into the monster's fiercely burning body. "Take this!" The giant monster was completely engulfed in a sea of red-hot fire, the flames blazing fiercely and incinerating everything around it. The two guys turned and ran for their lives. Si-hong screamed in panic. "Close the door!" Sang-yoon asked while running. "Did you get enough stuff?" Si-hong retorted with a grimace. "How could I?" Despite burning fiercely, the monster relentlessly chased closely behind them. Sang-yoon hurriedly urged his friend. "Get up! They're chasing us again!" Si-hong exclaimed in terror. "What the hell is that thing?" Si-hong turned his head back, his panicked eyes glancing over the mini gas canister attached to his backpack. An idea flashed, and his swift hands hurriedly pulled the orange gas canister out. A hand decisively held a sharp saw blade and made a strong cut, piercing the body of the gas canister. Si-hong and Sang-yoon rushed through the door to escape. The punctured, hissing white gas canister was thrown flying through the air, heading straight for the monster. Sang-yoon and Si-hong ran as fast as their legs could carry them, their faces drained of blood from extreme terror. The Yomi monster stuck closely to the hissing gas canister rolling on the ground. A massive, fiery explosion erupted fiercely right behind them. Sang-yoon shouted a warning, "Get down!" Both guys hastily dove forward to dodge the blast pressure. Si-hong looked back at the fiery mess, gritting his teeth and breaking into a cold sweat. The scene outside apartment building 102 was gray and eerily deserted. The girlfriend knelt on the ground, shaking the bloody corpse of the young man from room 301 and crying tragically. Honey, wake up!" Next to the corpse sat a small Yomi, staring blankly. Taeyong's father rushed out from the door, swinging his leg to kick the small monster away to protect the girl. Taeyong's father angrily yelled, "What the hell are you doing? Get in here right now." The girlfriend resentfully retorted, "What about him?" Taeyong's father continued to question, "What do you plan to bring a corpse in here for? To let it rot inside?" The girlfriend furiously screamed, "What? Watch your mouth!" Taeyong's father coldly pulled the heavy steel door shut, dropping heartless words, "Then stay out there and die with him. If you're going to die, die alone." The girlfriend panicked, using both hands to hold tightly onto the door's edge, trying her best to stop it. "Don't close the door! Don't close the door!" Suddenly, the old man from room 411 standing behind Taeyong's father pointed in terror outside, behind the girl, and let out a blood-curdling scream. "Hey, look over there! Over there!" Sang-yoon puts his arm around Si-hong's shoulder, helping his best friend limp along. Both are battered after the fierce battle. Taeyong's father opens the steel door slightly, sticking his head out and screaming to provoke the pack of monsters. "Run this way, you bastards!" Sang-yoon startles and turns his head, stuttering as he calls his friend. "Hey, Si-hong, that thing that..." Si-hong asks blankly. "What?" The two boys freeze upon seeing the bloody corpse of their neighbor sprawled on the stairs. Sang-yoon points in panic. "That's... Wait, the guy from room 301. Taeyong's father glares, gritting his teeth and yelling to rush them. "Hurry up and get in here." Hearing the urging, the two of them run as fast as their legs can carry them up the stairs to get inside and find a place to hide. However, Neither of them is aware that a bizarre pink monster has clung tightly to the backpack at some point. Transitioning to Go-hee, she is sitting flat on the floor, curled up in a blanket with a dazed and exhausted expression. A voice breaks the quiet atmosphere. Feeling any better? Go-hee blankly looks up. The savior turns out to be a cool blue-haired girl in camouflage. Go-hee sighs, answering honestly. Not really. Thank you for saving me. Go-hee blankly looks around the strange room, asking questioningly. But where is this? I didn't even know a place like this existed. The blue-haired girl explains in an even tone. Many people have given up in this situation, or are too busy just trying to survive. But we are preparing to fight back against them. Our name is Judges of Tomorrow, JOT for short. The blue-haired girl loudly introduces herself as Ji Soo-young, 30 years old, branch manager. This is the North Gyeonggi branch of JOT. The scene outside opens up, showing the JOT headquarters standing tall, heavily barricaded by countless giant shipping containers stacked on top of each other. Go-hee, covered tightly in the blanket, blankly repeats. What?
JOT?
Jot. Ji Soo-young immediately frowns and corrects her. No, don't read it like that. You have to pronounce it clearly as J-O-T. Go-hee breaks into a sweat, awkwardly defending herself. All right then. Ji Soo-young still stubbornly snaps. I said no. Go-hee pulls the blanket closer, her face suddenly serious mixed with a bit of offense. You know, I'm very grateful that you saved me. But why are you speaking so informally to me when we just met? Soo-young casually rummages through Go-hee's jacket and smirks, replying. Lieutenant Go-hee, you are 5 classes below me at the military academy. Go-hee startles and cries out in panic. How do you know my name? My wallet. Where is my wallet? Soo-young replies unhurriedly. I'll return it after I'm done checking. Don't worry. In this crazy world, what use is a wallet anyway? Go-hee springs to her feet, flustered and speechless. Soo-young crosses her arms, asking in a stern voice. But where were you planning to go? Go-hee answers hesitantly. I wasn't going anywhere in particular. Go-hee's eyes droop, extremely tired and aimless. She confides softly. I'm just running away as far as possible. The further, the better. Ji Soo-young crosses her arms, sternly questioning Go-hee. The Yomi are everywhere you go. Does a place called Far Away really exist? Soo-young leans forward slightly, asking a pointed question. You saw something different, didn't you? Go-hee swallows nervously. Soo-young continues to press. Tell me, it might be what we are looking for. Transitioning back to the shelter at Building 102, on the ground now are just a few cans of meat and a pack of stale dry rations. Taeyong's mother stands with her hands on her hips, loudly demanding from Sang-yoon and Si-hong. What? Are you seriously saying that right now? Is this really all of it? You didn't hide a few cans somewhere? Saying that to people who risked their lives out there. Si-hong retorts angrily. What? Why should I? Before he can finish, Taeyong's mother turns and orders. Taeyong's dad, check their underwear. The husband sweats and refuses. I can't do that. Si-hong pouts and mutters. Seriously? What? Risked your lives? You guys came back safely and still have the nerve. The girlfriend of the guy from room 301, who is crying, suddenly screams sobbing. Si-hong interrupts her. Wait a minute. What were we supposed to do when he ran out of the supermarket alone? She screams. He died because of you. Because of you guys. Taeyong's mother pouts, sarcastically mocking the girl. Hey girlie, what's the point of playing the pure love act at a time like this? From the beginning, you were the one who stole a man with a wife and kids. You ruined a family, right? The girl is stunned and retorts. What? Why are you acting surprised now? Everyone here already knows that. Taeyong's father steps in to intervene. Stop it. Taeyong's mother remains sharp-tongued and refuses to back down. What? Did I say something wrong? Who here hasn't lost a family member? But he wasn't even family. The girl collapses on the floor, crying tragically while Taeyong's father yells again. I said stop it. Witnessing the absurd and chaotic family drama, Si-hong stands frozen, completely speechless. Si-hong, wearing his backpack, stands dazedly as he enters the house, holding a wooden tray with 3 tiny plates in his hands. The food on the tray is just a few thinly sliced pieces of canned meat, a few kernels of corn, and some meager pieces of dry rations. He frowns in disappointment, muttering and complaining. After dividing everything up, is this all I get? Si-hong's eyes droop as he looks at the bloody corpse of the young man from room 301 sprawled on the stairs. He exclaims sadly, "This is really too little in exchange for a human life." Si-hong clicks his tongue and remarks, "That's the result when you run away alone. Now I feel bad about it." While rambling, he suddenly stops and calls out, "Hey, over there." Si-hong's eyes widen, looking around frantically and asking Sang-yoon, "Did you just hear something?" A mysterious voice rings out, "Over here." Si-hong turns to see a tiny pink creature standing with its hands clasped on the cabinet. He sighs in relief. "What is it?" "It's just a squirrel. I thought another Yomi had gotten in." As soon as he finishes speaking, Si-hong's brain finally processes it. He startles, throwing the tray of food he fought so hard for all the way to the ceiling, and screams in panic. "Why the hell is there a squirrel here? And how can it talk?" In contrast to Si-hong's extreme panic, the hairless pink creature calmly puffs out its chest and clears its throat. "Ahem, Nia." Si-hong stands frozen on the spot, staring speechlessly at the strange creature acting superior on top of the cabinet. Si-hong widens his eyes in confusion, asking loudly, "Since when and from where did this thing roll in here?" The pink creature twitches its whiskers and replies casually, "When and where? It came in through the door with you." Si-hong quickly pulls the flamethrower out of his backpack, gritting his teeth in anger. Is this bastard some kind of Yomi too? Whatever the hell it is. He doesn't hesitate, aiming the nozzle straight at the ground and spraying a blazing red fire to incinerate the intruder. The fire erupts fiercely, Si-hong screaming with determination. It needs to die. After spraying the fire, Si-hong blankly looks around the empty floor, muttering, "What? Where did it go?" The pink creature has already climbed onto Si-hong's shoulder at some point. It makes a mocking face, throwing out a challenge. "Try and catch me." The sly creature stands on his shoulder, laughing triumphantly. Si-hong startles, so mad the veins in his neck pop out. Quicker than a flash, Si-hong swings his hand, grabbing the creature and lifting it high. He scolds triumphantly, "Got you, you little brat." The pink creature is choked tightly, its face deformed and wrinkled, looking extremely comical. But it quickly slipped through Si-hong's hands and escaped. The young man's eyes widen in shock as he gasps in astonishment, "You!" The small creature is no pushover. It immediately struggles and flies forward, delivering a thunderous headbutt straight to Si-hong's face. He falls backward, his weapon clattering away. Si-hong grimaces in sheer pain, completely failing to defend against the sudden attack. The young man falls hard onto the floor, his glasses flying off his face. Si-hong lies knocked out cold and unconscious. The pink creature casually lands right next to him. It raises its tiny hand to wipe the sweat from its forehead, letting out a sigh of relief. A blurry vision gradually opens up. The flickering silhouette of the pink creature appears against the darkness. The scenery comes into sharp focus. The strange creature wearing a striped scarf is still standing proudly there, staring intently. Si-hong wakes up only to find himself tied up tightly with ropes on the floor. The pink creature stands on a chair with its arms crossed, calmly asking, "Awake!" Si-hong screams in panic, "What? Hey, when the hell did you tie me up?" The pink creature stands proudly on the chair, looking disappointed. "I didn't expect you to destroy my doll that way. I'm actually a bit surprised." Si-hong asks back in confusion, "What the hell are you talking about? A doll?" The bizarre creature stares intently at Si-hong. "Yes, that very thing you just burned down." The creature smirks and explains, "It's my doll, made from the corpses of my comrades." Si-hong breaks into a cold sweat, stuttering as he recalls, at the supermarket, that thing." The creature continues to boast, "You are the first person to face my doll and return alive." Si-hong's eyes widen. "What?" The pink creature triumphantly points its finger straight at Si-hong's face, declaring proudly, "You passed the test. You are officially accepted as my henchman." Veins pop up on Si-hong's forehead as he grits his teeth and mutters angrily in his head, "What the hell is this damn squirrel talking about?" Transitioning to the JOT headquarters, the setting sun casts shadows over the heavily fortified compound. A massive metallic ball with razor-sharp spikes is suddenly launched at a terrifying speed. The spiked ball crashes violently against Go-hee's sword. Wearing protective gear, Go-hee is struggling to withstand the attack. The ball bounces and slams hard into Go-hee's face, knocking her backward. Soo-young, holding a weighted ball, nonchalantly challenges the rookie. You said you wanted to join JOT. If you can't even handle this much, you really are a liability. Soo-young coldly rubs salt into the wound. We have no reason to take on extra baggage. Sweating profusely after the brutal training session, Go-hee maintains a solid stance, gritting her teeth as she firmly replies, "Give me one more chance. I'll take it." Soo-young looks straight ahead in silence, her sharp gaze assessing Go-hee's unyielding determination. Recalling their conversation from the previous day, the two of them stand talking. Go-hee hesitantly mentions a name. Hai-oi? Soo-young raises an eyebrow and asks back, "Do you mean that celebrity?" Go-hee nods in confirmation. "Yes." Go-hee's face hardens as she seriously analyzes. I am certain it wore her face, even if it was just disguising itself as her. The flashback glides through images of the beautiful female idol. Go-hee continues, "Or taking over her body, I'm not really sure." Soo-young immediately proposes a terrifying hypothesis. Or, that was its true form right from the beginning. Go-hee startles and refutes. What? That's impossible. There are kindergarten photos, elementary, middle, and high school graduation pictures. Soo-young's subsequent words pour cold water on her, leaving Go-hee frozen in shock. How can you be so sure all those photos are real? Leaving Go-hee in utter shock, Soo-young turns her back and walks away, tossing back a brief sentence. Get some rest. We'll talk later. Go-hee earnestly pleads with Soo-young. If what I saw is indeed what you're looking for, could you accept me here? Soo-young asks back, slightly surprised. What? Go-hee's face hardens, filled with deep hatred. She declares resolutely, I witnessed my comrades sacrifice their lives with my own eyes. Whatever that thing's identity may be, I want to avenge my fallen comrades. Soo-young stands in silence with her arms crossed. Go-hee continues trying hard to persuade her. I won't become a burden. I beg of you. Her plea is quickly answered with a hellish training regime. On the training ground, Go-hee is tirelessly practicing her dodging skills. Soo-young stands on the sidelines, strictly shouting, Move faster. I already told you. When facing them, you never know when it will turn into close-quarters combat. With sweat drenching her forehead, Go-hee still grits her teeth and tightly grips her weapon, focusing with intense concentration on the life-or-death training. Outside the door, a red-haired male soldier stands with his arms crossed, silently observing the practice. A gray-haired man wearing safety goggles walks up and speaks curiously. Who is that? I've never seen this face before. The red-haired youth turns and replies respectfully. You've arrived, sir. I heard the branch manager rescued them during a reconnaissance mission. Go-hee continues to swing her sword, slicing through the air on the field. The man in safety goggles continues. They survived an attack from a humanoid yomi. The red-haired youth's jaw drops. Huh? How? Goggles replies calmly. They were lucky to escape by car. The gray-haired man smiles with great interest and praises. Impressive. That's no easy feat. The exercise is suddenly interrupted as Soo-young hurriedly signals with her hand.
Ongi.
Stop. Stop. Go-hee freezes, holding her posture as her sword slices through the air. Soo-young calmly commands, Let them in. Go-hee's eyes widen in surprise, not yet understanding what the next training exercise is. The steel door of the gym slowly opens. 3 square-shaped yomi, their snouts tightly bound by iron frames, waddle inside. Go-hee startles and snaps her head around, gripping her sword with both hands to take a defensive stance. Soo-young nonchalantly explains the drill's requirements. I've muzzled them. Deliver a clean, beautiful slash. Go-hee breaks into a cold sweat, her face clearly showing extreme tension at having to execute these hideous monsters with her own hands. Transitioning back to Si-hong's room, the young man is still tied up tightly on the floor. Si-hong stares wide-eyed at the pink creature, unable to believe his ears. What? Henchman? He grits his teeth and yells in furious questioning. I don't know why you look like that or how you can even talk, but do you expect me to side with the bastards who killed my family and turned this entire world into a total mess? The pink creature rests its hand on its chin, pondering. This is tricky. Where should I even begin explaining? Suddenly its eyes light up, pointing its hand straight at Sihong as a brilliant idea just popped into its head. Sihong backs away in panic, his eyes wide with horror as the pink creature suddenly opens its mouth wide, shooting out hideous tentacles covered in eyes. He screams at the top of his lungs. What the hell is this? Its cute outer shell tears open, exposing a truly disgusting true form riddled with sharp teeth and long, reaching tentacles. The monster growls menacingly. This is our true form. Well, does it look hideous? The repulsive creature writhes and contorts its body, its voice turning deeply resentful. The problem is we know it ourselves. We are disgusted by the appearance of our own kind. Sihong's face is drenched in sweat as he stands frozen, listening to the creature pour its heart out. And at some point we stopped conceiving and giving birth. Even as the extinction of our species drew near, the slimy tentacles begin to retract. Returning to its harmless guise, the monster sits proudly on the chair and calmly continues. So we came here, 300 years ago, in the form of seeds. When you earth creatures raise your children, your biggest motivation is because they are cute, right? The narration shifts to images of an anomalous evolutionary gene chain. We studied and refined the cuteness that you humans always pursue, and through evolution we achieved our current state. After that, we began reproducing again. The pink creature crosses its arms over its chest, pouting in dissatisfaction. That was supposed to be our original goal. Its eyes narrow slyly, its tone becoming more sinister. But after achieving that goal, we became even greedier. The next declaration hits his eardrums, making a cold shiver run down Sihong's spine. To become human, he exclaims in shock. What? The pink creature reminisces about the early days. After settling down, we realized something. Food and resources here are far more abundant than we had ever imagined. It rubs its hands together, revealing its malicious nature. So we decided to settle here, in the form of you humans who always act like you own this place. And of course, that's after wiping out all existing humans. Hearing this, blood rushes to Sihong's brain as he tenses his neck to curse. So you're asking me to help you with that? Listen here, you piece of trash. The squirrel, refusing to back down, snaps back. Sihong screams in anger. I want to stop this too. I want to go home. So why don't you get the hell out of here? Stop torturing us. Sitting perched on the chair, the creature sighs and replies, if it were that easy, I would have done it long ago. A heavy question is suddenly brought up. Can you cut off your own flesh and blood with your own hands? Sihong frowns in confusion, questioning back. Flesh and blood? What the hell are you babbling about now? The pink squirrel goes silent for a beat without answering. It slowly explains further to its new henchman. That is the starting point of everything. The one who currently bears a human form. Memories of a girl with vibrant pink twin pigtails appear. The pink squirrel concludes with a chilling proposal. Kill my mother for me. Just as the conversation in Sihong's room becomes intense, the scene transitions to the JOT training room, where the steel door opens once again. 3 square-shaped yomi, their snouts tightly locked by iron frames, waddle inside. He quickly turns around, gripping her iron sword with both hands to take a defensive stance, preparing to deliver a slash. At the JOT training room, Suyang maintains an indifferent attitude, commanding Go-hee, I've muzzled them. Deliver a clean, beautiful slash. Go-hee tightly grips the hilt of her sword, sweat drenching her forehead. Her eyes are filled with extreme tension as she faces this cold-blooded test. She takes a step back, positioning herself in a defensive stance as the 3 square-shaped yomi waddle and hop closer. Go-hee swallows hard, thinking to herself in panic, I've never fought them without a gun in my hands. Looking at the 3 muzzled little creatures, Go-hee hesitates, asking herself, even if they are yomi, how can I hurt such an innocent-looking creature? Horrifying memories rush back. Images of her comrades falling in pools of blood, their bodies scattered among the ruins, shatter her soft-heartedness. Go-hee roars in anger. Innocent my foot! She tightens her grip on the hilt, a cold murderous intent flashing in her eyes as she aims directly at the small monster standing before her. The 3 innocent yomi blink their big, round, sparkling eyes, radiating a deadly cute aura meant to manipulate their prey's psychology. That adorable gaze is like a dagger stabbing into Go-hee's weakness. She clenches her teeth, squeezing her eyes shut and groaning in pain. Damn it! Go-hee shuts her eyes tightly, putting all her strength into swinging the razor-sharp sword, unleashing a powerful wind-splitting slash straight at the monsters. Out in the hallway, two JOT leaders stand observing through the glass. The gray-haired leader nods in approval. Has she used a sword before? Her stance looks quite proper. The red-haired leader crosses his arms and pouts, replying, "So what? My sword couldn't even touch those Yomi." Inside the training gym, Gohi squeezes her eyes shut, gritting her teeth as she channels all her strength to deliver the decisive blow. The blade slices through the air, striking down with terrifying force. The slash misses its target completely, slamming straight into the floor and creating a shockwave that knocks Gohi backward. Taking advantage of the moment, the pack of Yomi leaps simultaneously, lunging straight at her and causing Gohi to lose her balance and fall backward, dropping her weapon. The brutal monsters cling tightly to Gohi's face and chest, refusing to let go. At the critical moment, Soo-young rushes over and delivers a thunderous kick, sending the monster flying away from Gohi. Soo-young's tactically gloved hand tightly grips the handle of her razor-sharp, double-edged weapon. Soo-young coldly delivers a lightning-fast slash, cleaving the Yomi in two midair as blood splatters everywhere. Sitting flat on the ground, Gohi watches the entire scene unfold in utter shock. Soo-young lowers her weapon, warning in a stern voice, "If this were real combat, you would have already become Yomi food. Get up and pick up your sword." Breaking into a cold sweat, Gohi hurriedly obeys. "Roger!" Gohi pulls herself together, standing up straight and tightly gripping the large sword with both hands, preparing to fight. Standing nearby, Soo-young strictly reminds her, "Don't close your eyes. Face it head-on." Gohi asks back in confusion, "What?" Soo-young calmly analyzes. "The government guidelines say not to make eye contact, but those guidelines are only for people who need to run away." Gohi's face hardens, breaking into a cold sweat as Soo-young delivers the final point. "And we are in the position where we have to eliminate them." Soo-young begins to convey the core secret. Cute aggression. It refers to the moment you see something adorable and experience both positive and negative reactions. Soo-young continues with vivid examples. For instance, the urge to squeeze a newborn baby's cheeks really hard, or wanting to bite a cat or a puppy when you accidentally see them. Soo-young blinks and stares intently at the rookie, instructing thoroughly, "You need to use that exact reaction to strike them down." Gohi takes a deep breath, taking a ready stance. Soo-young commands decisively, "Try it." Gohi looks down nervously at the monster lying on the floor, thinking to herself, "I've always tried to avoid their gaze, but now I have to look straight at them?" Observing from the hallway through the glass, the gray-haired leader crosses his arms and asks, "What happens if she fails to strike here?" The red-haired leader replies coldly, "Do we have any other choice? We'll just have to kick her out. This place has no room for useless mouths to feed." Gohi glares, using a sharp gaze filled with murderous intent to confront the monster's big, round, innocent eyes head-on to trigger her cute aggression instinct. Gohi grits her teeth tightly, her face contorting from extreme tension. She channels all her strength, preparing to deliver a life-or-death slash. Hot! The blade slices through the air at a blistering speed, carrying a terrifying force that cleaves the air, aiming straight at the monsters. Transitioning back to Si-hong's room, the young man widens his eyes, looking at the small monster in astonishment. "So, you're asking me?" Tied up on the floor, Si-hong hesitantly continues, "To help you kill your own mother?" Sitting perched on the table, the pink squirrel calmly confirms, "That's right." Si-hong hangs his head low, his brain working at full capacity to process the shocking information he just received. A gleam flashes in Si-hong's eyes, and he raises his head resolutely. "All right, I'll do it." The pink squirrel's eyes light up as it cheers joyfully. "Oh, that easy?" Si-hong replies seriously, "If what you're saying is true, then she is also an enemy I must eliminate, an enemy of humanity." The pink squirrel nods triumphantly. "Exactly. Your brain works fast." The pink squirrel spreads its wings and flies down from the table to the floor, heading straight toward Si-hong. Using its tiny hands to swiftly untie Si-hong, it speaks while working, "Very well. Then I shall untie you." The pink squirrel beats its chest, confidently introducing itself. "My introduction is a bit late. My name is Ramjui, Gordon Ramjui. From now on, you shall address me as Sir Ramjui." Without hesitating for a single second, Si-hong swings his hand, tightly grabbing Ramjui by the neck and lifting him high. Ramjui lets out a panicked shriek. Gritting his teeth, Si-hong hisses, "You bastard! I caught you again!" Holding Ramjui by the neck, he walks purposefully toward the bathroom. Ramjui struggles and screams in a panic. "What the hell are you doing?" Si-hong ruthlessly dunks Ramjui's head into the soapy toilet bowl. Ramjui chokes on the water, bubbling furiously and struggling in utter despair. Si-hong presses down harder, his aggressive face cursing, "Die! Die already!" Suddenly, Ramjui's eyes flash with a blinding light even while submerged underwater. Magical lightning bolts shoot out from the top of Ramjui's head, violently blasting Si-hong's hand away, sending blood splattering and staining the water red. Si-hong screams in agony, falling backward while clutching his bleeding hand. Clutching his hand in excruciating pain, he grits his teeth and curses the creature. "You crazy, miserable squirrel!" Ramjui instantly launches itself out of the toilet, delivering a powerful punch with its long tail straight into Si-hong's face. The impact is so fierce that Si-hong loses his balance and gets knocked backward. Si-hong throws his head back, his nose bleeding profusely after the critical strike from the tiny pink squirrel. Si-hong collapses onto the floor, clutching his arm and grimacing in pain. Ramjui stands watching the unconscious Si-hong, speaking wearily. "What? Did he pass out again?" Clicks its tongue and makes a decision. "Better tie him up again." 10 hours pass. Si-hong suddenly jolts awake, gasping for breath with his mouth wide open. Finding himself tied up once again, Si-hong screams in fury, "You bastard! Again?" Perched on a cardboard box, Ramjui replies smugly, "Blame yourself for falling for it again." Si-hong grits his teeth and mutters in his head, "I should have added bleach to the toilet water earlier." Seeing the creature smacking its lips and chewing on something, Si-hong asks curiously, "What are you chewing on?" Ramjui puffs out its cheeks and answers innocently, "My cheek fat." Si-hong is dumbfounded, exclaiming, "What?" Ramjui puffs out its cheeks, makes a face, and spits out a completely crushed crumb. It swings its tiny hand, throwing the crumb away forcefully. Si-hong, still tied tightly on the floor, angrily yells, "What the hell are you doing in someone else's house, you bastard?" The crumb flies through the air, heading straight toward the wall next to the speaker system. The matter sticks to the wall, immediately transforming and sprouting sharp spikes that branch out in all directions. Si-hong turns his head to look, asking blankly, "What is that?" The image of the hideous giant monster at the supermarket appears. Ramjui explains, "You saw it at the supermarket, didn't you? I can connect the corpses of my kind and control them at will." Si-hong breaks into a cold sweat, asking back in shock, "That giant Yomi, it was a corpse." With his hands behind his back, Ramjui replies nonchalantly, "I connected 20 corpses together, but that's not what's important right now." Ramjui looks directly at Si-hong, coldly revealing a terrifying secret. "Another piece of my cheek fat. While you were unconscious, I stuffed it deep inside your ear." Si-hong's pupils constrict, his face turning pale from utter shock and horror. Ramjui's threat rings out forcefully. "That means the spike you just saw could pierce straight through your brain." Si-hong is infuriated, tensing his neck to yell in defiance, "Stop talking nonsense. Don't just make things up because you can't prove it." Standing on the chair, Ramjui calmly questions back, "Proof? Do you want to test it?" Ramjui extends its claws forward, coldly accepting the challenge. "Very well. In that case." Si-hong panics completely, repeatedly screaming to stop it. "Hey, hey, hey, hey!" At this critical, nail-biting moment, the building's PA system suddenly blares with loud microphone testing sounds. "Ah, ah." Tied up tightly, Si-hong startles and turns his head to listen. The voice of the building's representative comes through clearly over the announcement speaker. "Grilled fish, spicy stew, and drinks for sale here." Si-hong is stunned, exclaiming in amazement, "Is that sound coming from outside? There are actually people doing that out there." The announcement from the loudspeaker declares firmly, "We only accept gold, batteries, gasoline, and diesel. No cash accepted." In another corner, the girl from room 301 curls up on the floor, crying tragically, "Honey, my poor darling, what are we going to do?" The girl from room 301 sobs, blaming herself and resenting the loudspeaker announcement. "Honey, I'm so sorry. I should have stopped you at all costs. Yet that old hag still blurts out such heartless words when someone just died. Damn it. The loudspeaker continues to advertise despite the tragic circumstances. Grilled fish, spicy stew, and drinks available here. Repeating. Grilled fish, spicy stew. On the rooftop of the building complex, a group of survivors gather out of curiosity, looking up at where the loudspeaker's voice originates. Si-hong and Sang-yoon stand observing the crowd. Si-hong wonders, "What is going on? I didn't even know those people existed." Sang-yoon replies, "Right? Oh, by the way, do you have any gold? I have an old lucky golden toad I bought a long time ago." Ramjui stealthily pokes its head out from Si-hong's jacket pocket to eavesdrop. The girl from room 301 walks past the two of them with a face full of murderous rage. Look at them, they just got someone killed. And now they're out there trying to survive. An old man heavily lugs two large black plastic bags past them. Sang-yoon asks curiously, "Sir, is all of that gold?" The old man scoffs and replied sarcastically, "Ha, gold my foot. These are old books I used to read. Knowledge is more precious than gold." Si-hong breaks into a cold sweat, thinking to himself uncomfortably, "Aren't they just making everyone angry for no reason?" Ramjui pokes half its body out of the pocket, commanding Si-hong, "Get as much food as possible. That's the reason I'm letting you go." Si-hong nods seriously in confirmation. "I understand." Si-hong grits his teeth and tosses and turns in resentment, hanging his head as he looks down at Ramjui, making a silent resolve. "I will kill you when I get the chance." He tries to swallow his anger, telling himself what it said might be true, so for now just pretend to cooperate. Taeyong's mother carries a paper bag, angrily arguing with her husband. Think again. These are all the rings Taeyong received on his first birthday. Little Taeyong stands between them in silence. Taeyong's father snaps back. "So what? Do you plan to hold onto them tightly and starve to death?" Taeyong's mother retorts resentfully. "Why do you have to say that? I mean, we don't even know if these people are trustworthy or not." Taeyong's family stands in front of the wall, waiting for the group of people about to appear. Revealing themselves from behind the wall are three familiar faces. Jack, with an experienced face, gives a highly professional greeting. "Thank you for calling us. We will serve you with all our hearts." Si-hong and Sang-yoon stand amidst the crowd observing, their faces clearly showing surprise and confusion. Taeyong's father timidly carries a small clay pot containing fish stew. Standing next to him, Taeyong's mother frantically stops him. "No. Do you know what kind of rings those are? Are you going to exchange them just for that?" Flustered, Taeyong's father stays silent and doesn't reply. Taeyong's mother angrily urges her husband, "Say something to them." Startled and confused, Taeyong's father goes, "Huh." Taeyong's father looks at them nervously. It's not like they're just digging up dirt to do business. Let's keep the peace. Why make a fuss? Taeyong's mother snaps back. "Digging up dirt my foot. That's fish." The man with his hair in a top knot standing nearby sighs wearily. "Hey lady, that's not what I meant." "Ah, forget it." Ignoring the commotion from Taeyong's family, Jack calls out loudly, "Next customer. Please." The old man from room 311 steps forward, hurriedly replying, "I'm here." The old man from room 311 carefully places a stack of books on the ground. Jack looks down, asking curiously, "Oh, what is this, sir?" The old man replies submissively, "This is Zhuangzi, Laozi, and a few accounting books." Jack nods as if he understands. "Ah, I see." Suddenly, Jack changes his attitude, coldly ordering, "Pack it up." The old man asks blankly, "Why can't I?" Jack gives a threatening smile. "I'm sorry, but I don't like repeating myself." The old man falls silent. Watching from a distance, Si-hong frowns and speaks, "I knew it." Sang-yoon closes his eyes and sighs in agreement. It would be strange if they accepted that pile of books. Sang-yoon turns to ask Si-hong anxiously, "What about you? You said you don't have any gold." Clicking his tongue, Si-hong wings it. "I don't know. I'll just try to push my way through. If it doesn't work, then so be it." After seeing the old man off, Jack raises his hand and calls out loudly, "Next customer." Si-hong takes a breath and decisively steps forward, replying, "I'm here." Jack glares at the young man, demanding in a stern voice, "Show me what you brought." Breaking into a cold sweat, Si-hong stammers, What I brought. Suddenly, he takes a deep breath and screams loudly in the middle of the yard. I have absolutely nothing. Everyone present turns around to look in utter shock. Ramjwi pokes its head out of the jacket pocket, hissing a curse under its breath. What, are you crazy? Maintaining a cold expression, Si-hong silently explains to the squirrel. I have my own plan. Right now, I'm intentionally acting aggressive. Jack's face turns pale with anger, and he heavily steps forward to close in on Si-hong. The tall man stands imposingly, radiating an intimidating pressure as he glares at the empty-handed guy demanding a trade. Si-hong is so tense that sweat pours down like rain, trying to stay calm under the heavy pressure from Jack. He swallows hard. Out of nowhere, Jack pulls out a stun gun. He pins Si-hong down and jams the nozzle straight against his shoulder.
Terrified, Si-hong scream, Ah!
What the hell? Both of Taeyong's parents and Sang-yoon startle in panic at Jack's sudden violent action. Hiding in the pocket, Ramjwi also widens his eyes, his heart skipping a beat as electrical sparks zip right past him. Si-hong shrieks in agonizing pain, trying to brush Jack's hand away. What the hell are you doing? Jack calmly retracts the gun, nonchalantly replying, sorry. I have a condition where I can't tolerate listening to continuous nonsense. Si-hong angrily retorts, you haven't even heard me out until the end. In Korea, you have to listen until the very end. The henchman wearing a stag antler hat and the one in a pink rabbit suit stand behind him, pouting in mockery. Well, so you don't have to listen until the end in English? Don't know. I don't speak English. The pink rabbit turns to the stag antler guy to complain. Wait, even if you don't speak English, you could at least empathize with what I'm saying. The stag antler guy replies coldly, don't know. I don't empathize. The pink rabbit is left speechless. Ignoring his henchman's comedy routine, Jack squats down in front of Si-hong, who is sitting flat on the grass, his sharp gaze waiting. Jack challenges with a low voice. Let's hear it. What exactly were you planning to say? Si-hong stammers. Explo. Cornered, Si-hong quickly screams at the top of his lungs. I can manufacture explosives for you. Jack leans in closer to Si-hong on the ground, asking loudly, what? Explosives? Bombs? Si-hong replies resolutely, yes. Jack's two henchmen, the stag antler guy and the pink rabbit, stand behind them, silently observing. Suddenly, 3 small yellow yomi monsters appear in the clearing. Instantly, the 2 henchmen rush in to attack the monsters. Holding fiercely burning sticks, they swing powerful blows repeatedly. In another corner, Si-hong is swiftly dismantling parts from under the hood of a white car. Jack stands behind with his arms crossed, watching intently. Up front, the 2 henchmen are still fighting the monsters with fire. Taeyong's father stands next to Sang-yoon, asking curiously, what the hell? What are you going to do with that pile of batteries? Sang-yoon replies, I don't know. Wearing a mask, Si-hong carefully works with an iron box filled with bolts. He explains, create a spark to blow up the car. Then these bolts will fly out and embed themselves into the targets, dealing the damage of a grenade. With sweat dotting his forehead, Si-hong continues, that's the theory I'm thinking of. I don't know if it will actually work or not. Ramjwi pokes its head out of Si-hong's pocket, whispering enticingly, you can make bombs? Bring me a corpse. I will create it using my ability. Si-hong coldly brushes it off. Shut up. I'll handle it myself, my way. In the distance, the stag antler guy and the pink rabbit are still using fire sticks to drive away the monsters. Chattering voices ring out. By the way, these guys also know how to use fire. Yeah, if they didn't, they would have all died a long time ago. While holding his stick to fend off the monsters, the pink rabbit turns around to whine. Sous chef, is this right? Why on earth do we have to do this? The stag antler guy snaps back. The head chef told us to do it. The pink rabbit grumbles. Good grief. Standing with his hands behind his back, Jack urges. Hey, done yet? Fiddling with a screwdriver to fix the engine under the car's hood. Si-hong answers tensely. This isn't that easy. Jack coldly drops a threat. If you dare trick me, I will drill holes in every surface and tie you up with zip ties. Startled, Si-hong turns around to ask. What? Which surfaces? Jack lists them off clearly. Your palms, the soles of your feet, your tongue. Si-hong is left speechless, breaking into a sweat. Si-hong tightly grips a button in his hand, his face filled with extreme tension. Si-hong carefully connects the two ends of the wires together, creating a spark, and lets out a breath to announce, "Done." He leaps backward away from the hood, his hand tightly holding the extended wire, frantically screaming toward the group fighting. "Everyone, come over here. Hurry up." Taeyong's parents and Sang-yoon stand frozen, completely bewildered, not understanding what is happening. Hearing the shouting, the pink rabbit, the stag antler guy, and a henchman in a white bear hat run for their lives away from the swarm of monsters. A scream rings out. Boom! Si-hong tightly grips the wire connected to the engine in his hand, his face intensely strained as he prepares to detonate. The white car with its hood wide open sits deserted in the clearing, with the monsters trapped right next to it. The guy in the white bear hat hurriedly runs past to find a safe spot to take cover. 3 small monsters waddle toward the white car with its hood wide open. Si-hong yanks hard on the rope tied to the car door handle, which connects to a tangled web of electrical wires, and shouts decisively, "Now!" The rope is stretched to its absolute limit. The monsters have just reached the rear of the target vehicle. The air falls silent with absolutely no explosion. Jack angrily raises his fist and roars, "Why didn't anything happen? You bastard!" Panicking, Si-hong holds tightly onto the rope and hurriedly explains, "Wait, just a moment." Si-hong desperately yanks the rope several more times. The car door handle is repeatedly pulled taut. Jack's face darkens as veins pop out, his murderous intent flaring up as he prepares to punish the fraud.
Suddenly, a horrifique explosion occur.
A massive fireball erupts, knocking both Jack and Si-hong flat on the ground. Si-hong, Jack, Sang-yoon, and the old man from room 311 all stare wide-eyed in astonishment at the terrifying destructive power of the blast. Ramjui, hiding in the pocket, is also left speechless with his mouth wide open. The pink rabbit stands dazed from the massive shockwave. The smoke and dust clear to reveal the wreckage of the car. One small monster somehow survives and scrambles to escape. A henchman's voice panics and reports, "Hey, head chef, one of them got away." Jack swings his hand and snatches the escaping little monster, lifting it into the air with one hand. Jack ruthlessly crushes the monster. Its flesh and blood explode outward into shattering fragments of light. Si-hong stares wide-eyed in horror at the sight, gasping in shock. Tearing a Yomi apart, purely with brute physical strength? Ramjui, peeking out from the pocket, also rolls his eyes back in sheer terror. What the hell is that guy? The old man from room 311 and the girl from room 301 poke their heads over the wall out of curiosity. The old man narrows his eyes and says, "It's too far, I can't see clearly." The girl from room 301 anxiously asks, What just happened?" A wooden tray filled with bowls of piping hot spicy stew is brought out. The crowd stirs in excitement. Someone asks, "What are they saying?" Sang-yoon inhales the drifting aroma and eagerly replies, "They said it's spicy-based stew." Another person cheers joyfully, "Spicy stew." Si-hong carries the tray of food toward everyone, clearly naming the items. And also water, hemi-bagris fish, loach. The crowd stirs in disbelief. Oh no, why are they giving us this much? And without needing any gold. What did he say? Si-hong stands in silence, his expression slightly awkward at the overly joyous reactions of the people around him. Recalling their conversation, Jack approaches Si-hong and suggests, "Hey, can you make them smaller? The portable kind." Si-hong answers frankly, "I don't know. This is my first time making one." Jack proposes a deal. 50. I can get you the materials you need right now. Can you make them in a week? Si-hong breaks into a cold sweat and grimaces, replying, "What? Just because you say so doesn't mean impossible things will suddenly get done." Jack maintains a serious expression, offering an extremely attractive condition. The payment will be advanced upfront. Take a look at it and decide whether you'll do it or not. The scene transitions to a group meal. Si-hong, Sang-yoon, Taeyong's family, and the girl from room 301 are sitting in a circle on the grass, slurping down bowls of piping hot spicy stew together. Sang-yoon scoops up large spoonfuls of soup, tears welling up in his eyes from pure bliss. "Oh God, this is so delicious. It's really, really good." While feeding her child, Taeyong's mother turns with a bright smile to praise him. "Si-hong, I knew you were smart, but I didn't know you could be useful in this way. Thank you. Flustered, Si-hong replies humbly, No, it's nothing. Tae-young, eat up. The girl from room 301 sneaks a glance at Si-hong while keeping the soup spoon in her mouth. Tears well up in the eyes of the girl from room 301 as she thinks bitterly to herself. If only those people had arrived a day earlier. No, if we had just held out and endured the hunger for one more day, he might still be alive right now. She wipes away her tears, her gaze resting on Si-hong, who has pushed his glasses up onto his forehead to eat. She blushes slightly and thinks to herself, anyway, he looks pretty handsome without his glasses. The very next second, the girl from room 301 frowns, scolding herself. Damn it, what the hell am I thinking at a time like this? The door to room 603 remains tightly shut and dead silent. Ramjwi sits on the sofa, watching Si-hong munching on food, and speaks up. I didn't expect you to have that trick up your sleeve. Si-hong tosses his chin and retorts. Trick my foot. This is real talent. Ramjwi bickers back. The things you can get with that talent can be counted on one hand, can't they? Then it's just a trick. Si-hong leans forward and snatches the piece of food from the squirrel's hand. Si-hong snaps. Then stop eating it. Ah, my shoulder. Si-hong frowns menacingly. Fine, just you wait, you bastard. Sooner or later, I'll blow your head off with this trick. Ramjwi takes the food back, puffing out its cheeks to continue chewing, and mutters. That's the first time I've ever seen it. Someone who can tear our soldiers apart with his bare hands. Si-hong leans back and plops down on the chair with a thoughtful expression. Yeah, I've never seen a human reach that level either. Ramjwi adds. What kind of monstrous strength is that, seriously? Si-hong turns his head and thinks to himself. Anyway, 50 bombs, can I actually make them? Suddenly, a knock rings out at the door. A voice calls out from outside saying, It's me. Si-hong stares at the room door, frowning as he wonders who it is. He calls out, Who is me? The person outside hastily identifies herself. It's me, room 301. The lock on my door is broken. Could you come take a look for me? Ramjwi turns in confusion and asks, Who is room 301? Si-hong curses. That idiot. Ramjwi wonders. A resident here? Si-hong confirms. Yeah, the one standing on the rooftop earlier. Ramjwi sits on the sofa, a serious expression on its face, as it issues a suspicious warning about the sound outside the door of room 603. Ramjwi analyzes. Or, it could be mimicking that voice. Si-hong freezes, snapping his head around to ask the squirrel in utter amazement. What? You guys can do that too? I clearly don't know the full extent of your abilities. Urgent banging sounds echo from outside room 603. Si-hong goes on high alert, his hand tightly gripping the tool attached to the gas canister in full defense. The girl from room 301 calls out loudly from outside the door. Si-hong. Si-hong cautiously approaches the door, pressing his face close to look through the peephole to scout the situation outside. Sweat trickles down his face from the tension. Looking through the peephole, the girl from room 301 is standing with her arms crossed, waiting out in the hallway. Si-hong lets out a sigh of relief, thinking to himself in annoyance, what? Turns out it's just that idiot. That damn squirrel got me worried over nothing. A grotesque, colossal shadow suddenly appears and looms massively right behind the girl's back. Si-hong doesn't notice it yet, still calling out, Just a second. I'll open the door for you right away. Spotting the monster's silhouette through the peephole, Si-hong's eyes widen, his pupils contracting in pure horror. He chokes up, only able to make muffled sounds in his throat. Si-hong turns around in a panic, twisting the deadbolts with his hands, checking and securely locking every single layer of locks on the door of room 603. He screams in fear, Damn it, I've locked the door so many times already. Knowing the situation outside is extremely dangerous and he cannot open the door, Si-hong puts all his strength into screaming through the door crack to warn the girl. Si-hong yells out, Run! Run away quickly! Right outside the door is a mutated giant yomi, its entire body covered in hideous blood, baring its razor-sharp teeth and laughing maniacally. Time rewinds to the moment before the girl from room 301 left her home. She sits curled up with her knees pulled to her chest in a dark corner of the room, her face filled with sadness and deep thought. Recalling the scene of the explosion in the clearing, a glint of determination suddenly flashes in the girl's eyes. She thoughtfully ponders, I knew he studied at a prestigious university, but I didn't expect his mind to be so sharp. If I stay by his side, I'll definitely be the safest. She lowers her head, her cheeks blushing slightly as she thinks of Sihong. And, looking closely, he's actually quite handsome. The girl sits blankly on the edge of the mattress, biting her lip in confusion as she maps out a plan. But I can't just barge in there like this. A bold idea flashes in her mind to get close to him. Should I go over and try to start a conversation with him? Gathering all her courage, the girl from room 301 leaves her home, walks to the front door of room 603, and rings the doorbell. Inside room 603, Sihong tensely presses his eye against the peephole to check who is calling at the door. The girl stands patiently with her arms crossed, waiting out in the hallway, completely unaware that a monster is about to appear right behind her back. Sihong's voice rings out from inside. Just a second. I'll open the door for you right away. The girl from room 301 is still waiting in front of room 603, completely unaware that a colossal monster silhouette is looming massively right behind her back. Looking through the peephole, Sihong's pupils contract in pure horror. He panics, stumping and stammering, unable to utter a single word. The door to room 603 remains tightly shut with its multiple layers of safety locks. Sihong takes a step back, his hand tightly gripping his makeshift weapon as sweat pours down profusely. He snarls in despair. Damn it! Why? Why are you doing this? Sihong blames himself, his face filled with deep regret. I was too careless. I became complacent. The door takes a powerful hit from the outside. Sihong uses his leg to brace it, gritting his teeth as he thinks, knowing they are evolving rapidly. I should have acted sooner. Small winged monsters squeeze through the gaps and fly straight into the room. Sihong cries out in panic. Ah, no! How many of them are there? Sihong brandishes his weapon, instantly spraying a blazing torrent of fire at the oncoming winged monsters. Ramjui pokes its head out, yelling angrily, You incompetent idiot! Sihong struggles to fight off the monsters. He barks out orders repeatedly. The switch! Hit the living room switch right next to you. Ramjui asks in confusion. What? Sihong snaps, pointing it out. That one. That white thing. The white thing? This one. Ramjui turns toward the rice cooker and points his finger. While Ramjui is turning on the switch, Sihong is still struggling. It seems Ramjui has activated a trap. Numerous spikes shoot out from both sides of the walls, crushing the monsters. Sihong sits flat on the ground, panting heavily. On the table, Ramjui stands with both arms spread out, posing speechlessly. Sihong frowns and grits his teeth, his face drenched in sweat after the life-threatening crisis. The scene transitions outside to the hallway of room 603. Sihong is on his knees, using a piece of cloth to cover a bloody body. Ramjui stands silently beside him. The cloth gradually covers the orange hair of the girl from room 301. Blood pools heavily across the floor. Sihong stares blankly down at the corpse, speaking sorrowfully, Rest in peace. Words appear amidst a white void. Another person has died. Sihong hangs his head, bitterly exclaiming, Why on earth did you come here anyway? Heavy thoughts revolve in his mind. What is more terrifying than the death of a person? Am I becoming numb to death? Sihong turns to discuss with Ramjui. They are a bit different. Have they evolved? Or is this a different species? The ones just now. Those things seem to fly using their ears. He criticizes the squirrel. If you don't know, just say you don't know. Their tongues are extremely long, bearing the characteristics of a chameleon. Ramjui sticks out his short little tongue to argue back. Tongue? Looks short to me. Annoyed, Sihong scolds. You little bastard. Hey, cut it out. Sihong suddenly stops short, his pupils dilating as he realizes something terrible. He is struck speechless in silence. Sihong's expression turns into utter panic, sweat breaking out. What about the others? Sihong runs over and frantically bangs on the door of room 311, calling out loudly, Sir! Sir! He anxiously mutters. Why is there no sound? This is really worrying me. Seeing no response, Sihong pulls out a drill to break the door lock. Gritting his teeth, he curses, Damn it! Sihong grabs the doorknob, putting all his strength into violently and repeatedly yanking it to break the internal lock latch. The door is finally pried open. Sihong exclaims, It's open! Si-hong steps into the room, brandishing his makeshift weapon attached to the gas canister. Ramjui is perched on his shoulder. Both look astonished at the sight inside. Si-hong opens his eyes wide, his pupils dilating as he witnesses the horrific scene before him. The old man from room 311 lies prone and motionless in a massive pool of blood. Holding his weapon, Si-hong calls out in shock, "Sir, sir." The entire room is stained a deep crimson blood red, with long streaks of blood smeared across the shattered glass door. Si-hong grits his teeth in resentment. Damn it, damn it. Si-hong has just burst into the room of Taeyang's family. He stands frozen, his face pale, panting from shock at the sight inside. Taeyang's father lies prone and motionless in a massive pool of blood, right in the middle of the room. Blood splattered all over the walls. Trembling, Si-hong approaches, calling out in shock, "Mr. Taeyang's dad." The room is in shambles, the shattered glass door smeared with long streaks of blood. Si-hong looks around frantically searching. I don't see Taeyang, and his mother is nowhere to be found either. Perched on Si-hong's shoulder, Ramjui drops a cold, ruthless remark. Or, they've already been eaten. Those Yomi eat everything, you know? Si-hong is miniatured to the extreme, his eyes burning with murderous intent mixed with boundless grief. You bastards! Poor Taeyang. Suddenly, a flash of realization strikes Si-hong, catching him off guard. He gasps, "What about Sang-yoon?" Without a second thought, Si-hong rushes out of the room, running to the front door of Sang-yoon's apartment. He repeatedly bangs on the door, screaming out loud, "Sang-yoon, open the door! Sang-yoon!" Si-hong tensely presses the device in his hand repeatedly, sweating profusely, muttering a prayer under his breath. "Please, please!" The room door suddenly opens. Sang-yoon stands there, rubbing his sleepy eyes, and asks blankly, "Huh? Si-hong, what are you doing here?" Si-hong, sitting flat on the ground, gets startled. Seeing his friend safe and sound, Si-hong lets out a sigh of relief and then yells angrily, "Why? Why didn't you answer?" Sang-yoon scratches his head, replying cluelessly, "Huh? I was sleeping, what's wrong?" Si-hong grabs Sang-yoon's hand, urgently instructing him with an intensely strained expression. "The food from last time, and gather as many clothes as possible." Sang-yoon is completely in the dark. "Huh? Why?" Si-hong looks straight ahead, declaring with an extremely serious and determined gaze, "We are leaving this place." The scene transitions to the parking lot area. Si-hong opens the door of a black car to check it, while Sang-yoon stands guard behind him holding his makeshift weapon attached to a gas canister. Si-hong shakes his head to announce, "Ah, this one won't start either." The two of them push a bicycle loaded with belongings along the road. Still in utter shock, Si-hong speaks sorrowfully, "I can't believe it. Even that child. Those things don't differentiate between children and adults, but I secretly hoped nothing would happen." Si-hong hangs his head, walking with heavy steps while carrying a glimmer of hope. That child, is there any chance they are still alive somewhere? The image of Taeyang's kind father flashes through his mind. Si-hong continues painfully, "Him too." Images of another young man and woman from the apartment complex also pass by. And everyone else. Si-hong is still immersed in grief as the image of the old man from room 311 appears in his mind. And him too. His agonizing thoughts continue to echo. If the situation hadn't happened, there would be no reason for people to be angry with one another. And no reason to die a meaningless death. The scene transitions back to a parking lot. Si-hong is sitting in the driver's seat of a car. Standing outside the car door, Sang-yoon asks in confusion, "Si-hong, but where are we going?" Si-hong replies decisively, "The sea." Sang-yoon asks back in surprise, "The sea?" The image of head chef Jack with a sly smirk briefly flashes in a flashback. Si-hong turns to explain the plan to Sang-yoon. "The water traders we saw earlier brought fish with them. Even though the land is heavily devastated, there's bound to be plenty of food underwater." Sang-yoon suddenly realizes and exclaims, "Ah, I see." Sang-yoon leans toward the car door and asks, "Where's the nearest sea?" Si-hong thinks for a moment and guesses, "Gimpo, maybe?" Sang-yoon immediately dismisses it. "There's no sea in Gimpo." Sang-yoon scratches his head in confusion. "So there isn't one?" "Probably not, right?" Si-hong replies firmly. "There is, Sang-yoon. The car engine suddenly starts roaring, catching both of them by surprise. The car headlights suddenly beam brightly. Si-hong cheers in delight. Got it. The engine started. Standing outside, Sang-yoon also throws both hands into the air to celebrate the victory. Awesome. The car begins to roll, accelerating and speeding down the vast highway, leaving the dark apartment building far behind. Si-hong focuses on driving, looks at the dashboard, and speaks up. A distance of 51 kilometers. We can make it there within this range, right? Lying on the dashboard, Ramjui asks, is this the best choice? Si-hong snaps. Then what do you want to do? Introduce yourself. Sitting in the passenger seat, Sang-yoon asks in confusion. Huh? What did you just say? Si-hong covers it up. I was just talking to myself, lamenting my own fate. Sang-yoon leans his head back against the seat and sighs. The fate of all humanity is doomed. For those of us who survived certain death, isn't our fate actually pretty good? Si-hong agrees. Yeah, you're right, Sang-yoon. Si-hong recalls Jack's group, thinking to himself, but those guys, they said they'd come back for the bombs. Is it really okay to leave like this? We also received a lot of food from them. He brushes it off, whatever. My survival comes first. Panicking, Sang-yoon reaches out to stop Si-hong, screaming loudly, Hey Si-hong! Stop! Stop the car! Startled, Si-hong asks, What's wrong? What happened? The car brakes hard, tires screeching on the road. Sang-yoon hurriedly opens the door and rushes out. Bewildered, Si-hong calls out after him, What's wrong? What is it? Is there someone there? Si-hong and Ramjui lean out of the car window, watching tensely. Sang-yoon delivers a kick that sends an oncoming small monster flying, cursing out loud, You piece of trash! You bastards! Panicked, Si-hong calls out, Sang-yoon, what the hell are you doing? Sang-yoon runs for his life through the deserted streets. Sang-yoon leaps into the car, frantically urging Si-hong, Step on the gas! Drive! Drive! Dumbfounded, Si-hong asks, What the hell are you doing? Are you crazy? Sang-yoon leans back in the passenger seat, throwing his head back and laughing hysterically. Pfft! Ha ha ha! Those bastards! Sang-yoon's laughter continues to echo. Ha ha ha! Those idiots! Ha ha ha! Si-hong glares out of the corner of his eye at his friend while driving. Sitting on the dashboard, Ramjui is also left utterly speechless. Sang-yoon laughs so hard that tears stream down his face. Ha ha! Those fools! Si-hong sighs and turns away. Damn it! The car accelerates and speeds down the highway. The scene transitions to a ruined building, somewhere in Gyeonggi-do. Inside a dark room, Taeyong's mother tightly embraces her son, using her hand to cover his mouth. Her face is pale with fear. The legs of a small monster are approaching. Taeyong's mother and the boy are hiding behind a kitchen cabinet, holding 2 rice cookers. The small Yomi monster waddles past their hiding spot. The small Yomi monster aimlessly ambles through the room. Hugging her son tightly, Taeyong's mother tensely instructs him, Taeyong, when I give the signal, run for the door, understand? The mother's hand silently counts down finger by finger. The mother rushes out to draw attention, screaming out loud, Now! Taeyong immediately bolts. Tears streaming down his face, Taeyong runs blindly for his life. The boy stops short, turning his head back to call out, Mom! Taeyong's mother falls to the ground, the small monster closing in right behind her. The monster's mouth suddenly opens incredibly wide, revealing massive jagged teeth, preparing to devour the mother. Taeyong stands frozen watching the sight. Tears falling from her eyes, the mother smiles as she speaks her last words to her son. My beloved child, you must survive. The scene plunges into darkness, as a massive splatter of blood stains the wall red. Go-hee, dressed in military uniform, channels all her strength to swing her wooden sword straight down, her face filled with fierce determination. A powerful sword wave slices through the air, rushing forward. The Yomi dummy is sliced clean in half, splattering pink fluid everywhere. Go-hee holds her post/posture. The 2 platoon leaders stand with their arms crossed, observing. The leader wearing safety goggles exclaims in surprise, Just 1 slash. Soo-young approaches to evaluate. You have talent. Have you used a sword before? Go-hee replies calmly. My father runs a kendo dojo. I practiced from the age of 3 until my freshman year of high school. Go-hee breaks into a sweat, her face filled with astonishment. Soo-young commands decisively, "Very well. Training begins tomorrow." A bandaged, bleeding hand tightly grips the hilt of a real sword. Fresh blood drips onto the floor drop by drop. Holding the sword, Go-hee's steady figure stands in the middle of a room hung with numerous yomi dummies. Go-hee's face is tense, drenched in sweat, as she mutters obsessively, "More, more, more. This is still not enough. If I can slice them clean in one blow." Go-hee's eyes widen, clearly displaying extreme tension and immense pressure. Go-hee startles, her eyes wide with surprise. She snaps her head around to listen. "What is that? Did I mishear?" Firmly gripping her sword, Go-hee steps out into the hallway to investigate. "What is that? Where is that sound coming from?" Drenched in sweat, Go-hee looks highly suspicious. "A yomi? Seems I didn't mishear." Go-hee presses herself against the wall, tightly gripping the sword hilt with both hands as she tiptoes forward. Go-hee pokes her head around the corner to observe, her expression tense. "It really is a yomi. There are a few of them on the other side of this wall." Go-hee swings her sword and rushes forward, gritting her teeth and muttering, "Stay calm. Just do what I practiced. Right now." A powerful slash swings down, cutting through the air. A young man with long black hair startles, backing away in a panic upon seeing the tip of Go-hee's sword pointed straight at his face. He appears to be holding leashes for 3 small yomi. The young man squeezes his eyes shut, leaning backward in fear to evade the sharp blade. Go-hee sharply questions, "Who are you? What the hell are you doing?" "With a yomi." The young man answers blankly, "Huh? I'm walking them." Go-hee screams in astonishment. "What? Why on earth are you walking it?" The young man asks dumbfounded. "Me." The young man in the baseball cap explains awkwardly, "Because it's best for them? Have you never seen a trained yomi before?" Go-hee blankly looks at the muzzled yomi lying obediently on the floor, asking back, "Trained yomi?" The young man suddenly remembers something and exclaims, "Ah!" The youth points toward a corridor fenced with iron mesh. "This is the yomi kennel I manage. We raise trained yomi here." Go-hee wonders, "Yomi? Worry?" The youth replies cheerfully, "Like the baseball team name?" The young man smiles brightly with pride. "Oh, so you know. I came up with that name myself." Breaking into a cold sweat, Go-hee answers speechlessly, "Ah, I see." She thinks to herself, how can he be so optimistic? He almost got his head chopped off just a moment ago. The 3 muzzled, chain-collared yomi stand huddled together. The youth enthusiastically boasts, "I even named these guys. Dimwit, airhead, bastard." Go-hee hesitantly speaks up, "Excuse me?" The young man maintains his calm smile and explains, "It's a choice to keep myself from getting attached to them." Speechless, Go-hee judges him in her head. He's out of his mind. Go-hee bows, holding her sword with both hands, sincerely apologizing. "Anyway, I'm truly sorry about earlier, for suddenly swinging my sword at you." The young man waves his hand cheerfully. "No worries. Newcomers misunderstand sometimes. But to keep the trained yomi healthy, we have to take them for walks." The emergency alarm blares over the loudspeaker. "Alert! Open the main gate." Both startle and snap their heads up to look. Go-hee asks in surprise, "Huh? The main gate?" The long-haired youth explains calmly, "Normally we open it when someone goes out or comes in." Go-hee replies, "Of course, it's a door after all." The long-haired youth continues, "But in this case, it seems a newcomer has arrived." Go-hee's face shows a hint of surprise, her eyes widening. Go-hee frowns in thought, the image of Hyoi briefly flashing through her mind. She thinks to herself, could it be? The youth waves his hand and smiles brightly. "No way, I'm gonna check the gate. See you later." Go-hee watches him go and turns her head. "All right." Go-hee grips her sword tightly and runs off in a hurry. Go-hee stops short, sweat breaking out on her face as she looks utterly stunned. A tiny, filthy boy steps through the iron gate, escorted by 2 soldiers who immediately point their guns straight at him. A guard orders, "Close the gate." Another soldier replies, "Roger." Go-hee gasps, "A child?" Go-hee stands dazed and bewildered as she hears the whispers around her. The citizens chatter, "A survivor. Is it just a child?" "Yes." The scene transitions to a car with its headlights beaming brightly, speeding through the night down a ruined road. Sang-yoon curiously looks at the item in Si-hong's hand. Sang-yoon asks, Si-hong, did you make this? Si-hong replies coldly, could a factory-made product ever look like this? Sang-yoon praises cheerfully, I knew it. Your craftsmanship is amazing. Holding the makeshift weapon that combines a saw blade and a blowtorch, Sang-yoon asks curiously, what do you call this thing? A torch saw? Or a saw torch? Si-hong answers calmly, a saw blade, the flaming crescent saw. Sang-yoon's eyes light up with deep admiration. Insane. You really are a man of culture. Si-hong stays silent, looking completely helpless. Sang-yoon strikes a majestic pose with his new weapon. Hey, how do I look?
Do I resemble Guan Y?
Si-hong seriously analyzes. Do you mean his battle against Yen Liang? Year 200, the Battle of Guandu. Sang-yoon eagerly chimes in. Oh right, Guan Yu that season was absolutely insane. Sang-yoon suddenly blinks in confusion, wondering, wait, did you two know each other? Si-hong replies coldly, he doesn't know me. Sang-yoon asserts confidently, I know him. Speechless, Si-hong retorts, oh really? Does Guan Yu know you? Lying lazily in the car, Ramjui speaks wearily. What the hell are you two babbling about? Sang-yoon blinks his eyes with sparkling anticipation, turning to beg his friend, hey Si-hong, make one for me. The car suddenly brakes hard. Sang-yoon is thrown forward headfirst, his face contorted in panic. Ramjui is also sent flying, its entire body squished flat, its eyes rolling back. Regaining his composure, Sang-yoon questions angrily, hey, why the hell did you suddenly slam on the brakes? Si-hong's face is pale, breaking into a cold sweat as he stares intently ahead. No, out front. Sang-yoon asks blankly, what's out front? Right in front of the car. A tiny dark silhouette with the figure of a little girl stands tall on the rubble in the middle of the road. Confused, Si-hong gasps, isn't that a person? Sang-yoon narrows his eyes to judge. Huh? Isn't it a tree? The silhouette of a girl with twin pigtails stands motionless in the middle of the road. Si-hong guesses, does it have a human shape? Sang-yoon wonders, does it look like a tree? Ramjui breaks into a sweat, thinking in horror, a human? A human out there? Si-hong remains silent, his tense face focusing intently on observing. Si-hong unbuckles his seatbelt, brandishing his weapon as he prepares to open the car door. I'll go check. Sang-yoon calls out in a panic. Hey, what if that's a Yomi? Ramjui shudders, his squished face turning pale as he mutters. It shares the characteristics of that thing we saw at the supermarket earlier. Si-hong turns to look at Sang-yoon and replies seriously, what if it's a human? Sang-yoon gasps blankly, huh? Si-hong holds his weapon and cautiously steps out of the car. Staying behind, Sang-yoon advises, hey, be careful and stay on guard. Si-hong nods in confirmation. All right. Si-hong takes step after step closer to the girl standing with her back turned among the rubble, calling out, excuse me, hello? Si-hong's face clearly shows complete shock, his eyes widening in astonishment. Under the dim light, the pink-haired girl with twin pigtails is fully revealed. Hai-oi, with soulless eyes, directs her gaze straight at Si-hong. Hai-oi, with a vacant stare, replies coldly, yes. Si-hong breathes a sigh of relief and asks, what are you doing out here? Thank goodness you're human. Hai-oi calmly answers, I'm looking for someone. Si-hong asks back in surprise, someone? The space plunges into darkness. Hai-oi's brief confirmation rings out, yes. Hai-oi's dangling hand bears a bizarre shape with grayish skin and long, sharp claws. She continues to inquire, is there a place nearby where survivors gather? Si-hong shares sincerely, actually, I'm also looking for a safe gathering place. The place where I lived was just attacked. Sitting inside the car, Ramjui's face contorts, his eyes rolling back, revealing absolute terror. Ramjui panics completely, screaming in his head, that voice, it can't be. No, if I die here. Ramjui suddenly stands up, his entire body radiating intense murderous intent, causing Sang-yoon sitting next to him to jolt in surprise. Ramjui opens his mouth wide in agitation. Sang-yoon snaps his head around to look at the creature, his face contorting in fear. Ramjui aggressively launches forward, lunging straight at Sang-yoon's face. The restraint of the seatbelt tightens around Ramjwee's neck, violently pulling him back. Sang-yoon glares and snaps angrily at the creature. "Shut your mouth right now." Holding his weapon in hand, Si-hong steps closer to Hyoi bit by bit. Si-hong hesitantly asks, "Excuse me, are you L?" Hyoi's hand hidden behind her back is veiny, clearly revealing long, sharp claws characteristic of a monster. Sitting in the car, Ramjwee wears a frenzied expression, his two hands desperately tearing at the seatbelt tightening around his neck. Hyoi suddenly flinches and freezes. Si-hong, standing opposite her, looks puzzled. Hyoi raises her hand to her ear, muttering in communication. "Yes. Where? Got it. I'm on my way." Si-hong thinks blankly to himself. A phone call? There's no way a call can go through at a time like this. Hyoi's face is stone cold, her sharp, soulless eyes casting a glance. Sang-yoon frantically pulls the tightening seatbelt taut. Ramjwee is bounced backward. Sang-yoon stomps his foot hard against the steering wheel to gain leverage to lean back, snapping, "You lunatic!" Si-hong turns his head toward the car, muttering in annoyance, "This guy, seriously." Si-hong turns back to continue talking to Hyoi. "Sorry about that. You must have been startled." Si-hong gasps in confusion. "Huh." The street is completely empty. Hyoi has vanished entirely. Si-hong stands deserted in the middle of the road, searching around. Where did she go? Two military trucks move in tandem through the ruined area. Inside the truck bed, Go-hee, Soo-young, and the two squad leaders sit across from each other. Go-hee hangs her head, her face clearly showing deep contemplation. Tae-young, his body covered in scratches and wrapped heavily in bandages, sits blankly recounting, "I don't know. I only knew to grab my mom's hand and run. But then my mom, in the end." Tae-young reaches up to wipe his tears. Soo-young speaks up to ask, "What about the other survivors?" The boy replies sorrowfully, "There used to be so many people. Now I don't know anymore." Tae-young sobs, turning toward Go-hee to ask in despair, "Ma'am, there's no way my dad is still alive, right?" Go-hee freezes, her face filled with bewilderment. Soo-young firmly reassures the boy, "No, he is definitely still alive. I will find him for you." The boy stops crying, looking up to ask, Really?" Sitting in the vehicle, Go-hee hangs her head in self-reproach. Those words slipped out before I even realized it. I didn't even pause to think how much that child would be hurt if we never find his family. Distant memories rush back into Go-hee's mind. An image of Si-hong happily holding a spoon and eating. Go-hee thinks to herself. Somehow, looking at that child, Go-hee gets lost in thought. The boy somewhat reminds me of Si-hong when he was little. Is that bastard Si-hong still inside that building? The glasses-wearing squad leader, who is an unlicensed medical doctor, turns to ask, "This is your first time on a real field mission, isn't it, Go-hee?" Go-hee snaps out of it, answering gloomily, "Yes." Ken, the red-haired squad leader in charge of the heavy assault unit, coldly adds, "If you're too worried, you can turn back." The two squad leaders argue in the back of the truck. Turn back how? There are no cars. Am I supposed to walk? So basically, it's if you're going to die, go die alone. Right? Isn't that what you meant? Ha-chi, the long-haired youth sitting nearby, bursts out laughing teasingly. You really belong to the misunderstanding operations unit. Left completely speechless, Go-hee thinks to herself, are these people really mocking me right now? Si-hong looks back at the car in annoyance, grumbling, that guy, seriously. Si-hong frowns in confusion. What's wrong? Why is he grumbling like that? Inside the car, Sang-yoon bites down hard on the seatbelt, pulling it with all his might. Ramjwee is in the back, straining in a tug-of-war. Si-hong hurriedly approaches and opens the car door. Sang-yoon screams angrily, "This damn crazy squirrel. It finally showed its true colors." As soon as the door opens, a punch lands straight on Ramjwee's face. Sang-yoon screams in panic, "You lunatic! What the hell are you doing?" Si-hong uses the handle of his weapon to pin Ramjwee's neck against the car hood, coldly questioning him. "So the moment I left, you tried to kill him?" Ramjwee twists and argues back, "You're talking nonsense. If I wanted him dead, I would have done it long ago." Shocked, Sang-yoon chimes in. "What? So you did have that filthy intention?" Ramjwee glares at Sang-yoon and retorts, Why would I secretly follow you just to kill you? Si-hong grits his teeth, glaring at the creature. Ramjui warns, without me, you'd be dead. Si-hong snaps, I wouldn't die. Ramjui reminds him, that woman just now. Si-hong freezes, looking at Ramjui in astonishment upon hearing the creature's revelation. That's my mother, Hyoi. Si-hong gasps in shock. What? Si-hong's face clearly shows utter shock. The image of Hyoi flashes through his mind. Si-hong thinks to himself, the person from just now? Sang-yoon breaks into a sweat, confusedly pointing at the creature. Si-hong wipes his face wearily. In utter bewilderment, Sang-yoon bombards him with questions. Si-hong, what are you talking about? Do you know this talking squirrel? What the hell is going on here? Sitting in the car, Sang-yoon breaks into a cold sweat and asks Ramjui. So she is a commander among the Yomi? And the woman from earlier is the one who started all of this. Ramjui calmly confirms. Exactly. Sang-yoon snaps angrily. Why are you only telling us this now? Ramjui crosses its arms and retorts. Would it have made any difference if I told you earlier? Do you really think you could have done anything? Sang-yoon hesitates. Then, Sang-yoon frowns in curiosity. Why didn't she kill us? Ramjui calmly analyzes. It seems she was in a hurry to go somewhere. Sang-yoon presses. Where? Ramjui replies. How should I know? Ramjui's face hardens, its eyes wide with suspicion. She didn't come out looking for me, did she? Sang-yoon turns toward the driver's seat to call his friend. Hey, Si-hong, what I'm saying is... Sang-yoon stops blankly upon finding the driver's seat completely empty. The two stand outside the car as Sang-yoon asks in confusion, how did this even happen? Si-hong replies, the day we went to the supermarket. Si-hong puts his hand to his forehead, explaining wearily, it clung to my back and followed me inside. Shocked, Sang-yoon gasps, oh my god, since then why are you still carrying it around? Si-hong sighs, it's complicated. Sang-yoon mutters, then that bastard. Sang-yoon's eyes suddenly flash with a sly glint. Hey, but it's locked inside the car right now. Si-hong asks back in surprise, what? Ramjui curls up in a dark corner of the car, eavesdropping. Sang-yoon's voice echoes from outside. Let's just burn the car down and kill it. Si-hong tightly grips the handle of his weapon, his eyes clearly showing tension and hesitation. Sang-yoon calls out, Si-hong. Ramjui sits flat in the corner of the car, looking exhausted and weary. Holding the gas canister in his hand, Si-hong mutters with a cold, murderous gaze. It might never get another opportunity. I should finish it off right here and right now. Si-hong points the nozzle of the gas canister straight toward the car. Ramjui's voice suddenly echoes inside Si-hong's head. Stop. You'd better not do that. Startled, Si-hong frantically looks around, gasping in confusion. What the hell just happened? Si-hong's face breaks into a cold sweat, his eyes wide with tension. Ramjui's voice continues to threaten him. What do you think? I told you I stuffed something inside your head already. Did you forget? Gritting his teeth, Si-hong mutters, damn it. So it wasn't just an empty threat. Si-hong pulls his hand back, awkwardly pulling the gas canister away from Sang-yoon to dissuade him. Let's not do this anymore. Sang-yoon asks blankly. Huh? Why? Breaking into a sweat, Si-hong explains anxiously. It's too risky. We could get hurt too. Sang-yoon frowns and grumbles. So are we just going to keep carrying it with us? Ramjui closes his eyes and sits stubbornly on the floor with his arms crossed. Si-hong turns away, replying with a tense expression. We'll have another chance. The car continues to drive along the ruined road with its headlights on. Let's just keep going. To our intended destination. Inside the car, Si-hong and Sang-yoon sit in the front row with pensive, exhausted expressions. Ramjui sits silently in the back row with his arms crossed and eyes closed. Si-hong tensely looks at Hyoi's silhouette radiating a crimson murderous aura. Si-hong thinks to himself, the one who turned the world into this. The beginning and the end of the disaster. Sitting in the car, Si-hong's face hardens with absolute resolve. And yet I let someone of that nature just walk away, right before my eyes. Next time I will never let her escape. Never. The car suddenly brakes hard. Panicking, Sang-yoon asks, what the hell is this? What's wrong with the car? The car sits dead silent in the middle of the ruined road. Sang-yoon screams in frustration. Damn it, I think we're out of gas. In the back of the truck, Kai cheerfully suggests, all right, should we talk about something fun on the way? Sitting opposite him, Go-hee replies dejectedly, can't we just ride in silence? Kai enthusiastically dismisses it. No, we need to squeeze out some positive energy. Breaking into a sweat, Go-hee judges him in her head. What a bizarre guy. Kai proudly raises his finger. The topic is, good things about the world turning into a total mess like this. The silver-haired squad leader frowns and grumbles. Hey, there's a limit to optimism. How can you say that in a situation like this? Kai calmly explains. We have to wring out whatever we can. Otherwise, we won't survive. Everyone listens in silence. Kai takes the initiative to start. I'll go first, all right? Kai recounts with a smile. There was a senior on my baseball team. He borrowed money and never paid it back. And he used to beat me up. Speechless, Go-hee thinks to herself, you think that's funny? The red-haired squad leader suddenly speaks up. Digital certificates. Bewildered, Kai asks back. Huh. The squad leader calmly replies. I'm glad I never have to stress over those things anymore. The silver-haired squad leader laughs triumphantly as he shares his story. I once stuffed modeling clay into a professor's gas tank, got caught and fined, but now I don't have to pay the fine anymore. Annoyed, Go-hee winces and asks back, what? Hayoi holds the microphone, closes her eyes and sings, yes, the next song I am going to sing for you is an unreleased track. Breaking into a sweat from surprise, Go-hee thinks to herself, an unreleased track. Crazy. Maybe this chaotic world isn't so bad after all. Go-hee remains thoughtfully silent. The military truck comes to a halt. The assembly order rings out. We've arrived. Everyone, out of the vehicle. A foot clad in military boots decisively steps down onto the road. Tightly gripping her sword, Go-hee looks up at the high-rise apartment building in front of her. Go-hee's face breaks into a sweat, revealing her tension. Go-hee leans down to ask little Tae-young, hey kid, you know someone named Ryu Sehong, right? The guy from your apartment building. Tae-young replies obediently, oh, I know him. Room 603. He's a good guy. Go-hee continues, so you do know him? Surprised, Go-hee asks back, he's good. Tae-young nods and recounts. Yes, he gave me his own water ration to drink. Dumbfounded, Go-hee gasps, oh really? Go-hee asks Tae-young in confusion. But how did you know he lives in our building? Blinking, he explains. Ah, you were the one who brought those supplies. That's right, he is this child's father. Go-hee explains awkwardly. Oh, I only know him as a childhood friend. Haha, so you don't know if he's safe right now either? Go-hee hesitantly lowers her head. No. Go-hee looks up at the high-rise building shrouded in darkness. She thinks to herself, Ryu Sehong. The kid said room 603, right? Soo-young commands the whole team clearly. Attention, we will split into squads and sweep floor by floor. Soo-young turns to ask the silver-haired squad leader, how much ammo do we have left? The silver-haired squad leader replies calmly. None. Soo-young sighs softly. Not a single bullet left, huh? Soo-young's gaze sharpens as she orders the team. Behind her, Yomi begin to appear. All right, everyone draw your weapons. Go-hee widens her eyes in panic, screaming out a warning. Huh! Branch manager. Soo-young's veiny. Sharp hand swings and slices two Yomi apart. Soo-young mutters. 1 + 1 is cute. Soo-young repeatedly slashes, tearing apart the Yomi at her feet. Blood splatters everywhere. 2 + 2 is cute. Firmly gripping her glowing dual blades, Soo-young commands clearly, let's move in. Go-hee tensely confirms the order. Roger. Shrouded in darkness, a panicked voice echoes from inside. Someone's here. Go-hee startles in surprise. The team approaches the stairwell, discovering a male corpse lying motionless in a pool of blood. Go-hee glares in stun, recognizing a familiar face. Kai stands observing the scene around the corpse, calmly analyzing. It seems he was attacked while trying to make his way back inside from the outside. Did he go out to find food? When the supplies were cut off. Hachi kneels down to examine the corpse, confirming, he's gone. Standing behind, Kai adds, I see it too. He has a hole right in the middle of his forehead. Ken steps forward with a flamethrower, decisively ordering, Drag him outside. We will cremate the body. Another voice adds, very well. Make sure to burn it completely, so they don't become yomi food. Bright flames erupt from the muzzle, incinerating the man's corpse on the ground. Breaking into a sweat, Go-hee thinks in astonishment, is that bastard Ryu Si-hong really still alive? Transitioning scenes, Sang-yoon holding a shovel and Si-hong carrying his makeshift weapon are trudging through the ruined area. Both of them walk with exhausted, drained postures. Sang-yoon groans wearily, I'm starving to death. Si-hong also replies listlessly, me too. I'm hungry and thirsty. Si-hong casually asks Ramjwi, don't you guys ever feel hungry? Of course we do. We eat humans too. If we wanted to, we could eat you right now. We're holding back, you know? Sang-yoon opens his eyes wide, excitedly pointing ahead. A river. It's a river. Hey! The two of them frantically sprint forward. Sang-yoon and Si-hong kneel by the riverbank, scooping up water with both hands and drinking greedily. Ramjwi stands nearby, staring blankly. Leaning back on the grass, Sang-yoon lets out a satisfied sigh. Never thought I'd see the day I'd fill my stomach with Han River water. Do you think we'll get sick from drinking this? Squeezing his eyes shut in exhaustion, Si-hong replies, I don't know. Sang-yoon turns to look at his friend. So your life didn't exactly go according to plan either, huh? Si-hong calmly retorts, does life ever go according to plan in a world like this? Sang-yoon nods in agreement. Fair point. Sang-yoon begins to speak. Si-hong, I've been meaning to say this for a long time. Remember when the person from room 301 died? Confused, Si-hong suddenly recalls. 301? Oh, that idiot. Sang-yoon continues calmly. To be honest, back then, I had a really hard time holding back my laughter. Surprised, Si-hong asks back, what? Sang-yoon casually explains, I mean, come on. She had nothing, and all she ever did was look down on us. An image of a corpse lying face down in a pool of blood with a bandage on their head appears. Sang-yoon's words echo, look down on us. Si-hong adds, and on that day too, he ran away all by himself and that was his end. Didn't you once say watching scenes like that is fun? Si-hong bursts into a loud laugh, pointing at Sang-yoon's face. Eft, you really are a crazy psychopath. You know that? Sang-yoon laughs back. Hey, are you laughing? Closing his eyes and crossing his arms, Ramjwi judges them. Honestly, you two are exactly the same. Si-hong laughs out loud uncontrollably. Bwahaha! Hee hee. The laughter suddenly dies down. Si-hong's face breaks into a sweat, his expression turning tense and strained. Jack's henchman wearing a pink animal suit suddenly looms over, pointing a sharp spear tip right against Si-hong's neck, coldly speaking. What's so funny? Let us laugh along too. Sitting nearby, Sang-yoon screams in panic. Ah! Ramjwi breaks into a cold sweat, his face clearly showing alarm. Jack's henchman in the pink animal suit recognizes a familiar face in surprise. Huh? Isn't that the guy who dined and dashed last time?
Chef. Sion repeat blankly, chef?
Leisurely footsteps echo. Another voice chimes in. What? Dine and dash? There's definitely more than just one or two of them. Jack appears from behind with a sinister smile. Well, look at this little brat. Si-hong's eyes widen in terror. A close-up of Si-hong's face contorted with anger and panic. A thick rope looped tightly around his neck. Both Si-hong and Sang-yoon have ropes tied around their necks, trudging along helplessly. Gritting his teeth, Si-hong whispers to Ramjwi hiding inside his jacket. Hey, it's him, right? It really is him, isn't it? Hide well, damn it, before we all end up dead here. Jack's henchman yanks the rope, turning back to snap. What the hell are you guys whispering about? Sweating. Sang-yoon quickly covers it up. Nothing. Jack proudly threatens. Just you wait. We'll make sure you cough up everything you ate. The quiet scenery of a high-rise apartment building shrouded in a gloomy night.